Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was God in danmachi. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Slurpy Noodles and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. She was losing hope. She spent centuries searching, scouring all the lands in hopes of finding him. All her efforts only resulted in failure, but she never gave up. Her eyes would always roam the city and beyond for her destined one, wishing for her dream to come true. It never did. But the recent victory over the Zeus and Hera familias, signifying the end of the dark ages of Aurelio, she thought she would have been able to find her Otter now that her attention wasn't focused on the war. She never came close to even finding a whiff of him. But then again, she knew this could have been a possibility. That all of her efforts were only due to the words of a false prophecy, only meant to hurt her more than she already is. Oh, how cruel would that be, for her hopes and dreams to crumble at such a reality. It wasn't something she wanted to ever think about. But now the thoughts were there. My goddess, I have returned. A gruff voice said behind her, prompting her to turn and look at the man. He stood at a large 6'11" with muscles hulking his frame, brown hair and two ears on top of his head. This was Otter, the level 6 bows nicknamed the warlord of the Freya familia, and its captain. Otter, the goddess started, taking a sip from the glass of wine she held in her hands, gazing into the night sky in front of her. What is it you have found? Nothing out of the ordinary has been sighted in Aurelio, my goddess. She nodded dejectedly. She expected this response. This was the response that had always been given to her after every trip she sent her captain to. I see. I have, however, noticed something strange within the forests outside the city. A power and presence unlike any I've felt before. Freya's eyes zeroed in on the bows, narrowing them by a tiny margin. Oh? And what is it that's so strange to have caught your attention? It came from a little boy, my lady. He looked to be no older than a 7-year-old child. When the brown head finished his sentence, Freya's body went rigid. She sauntered up to her captain and placed a delicate hand on his shoulder. Speak, my child. Tell me what you are saying in further detail. Otter smiled at the contact and continued on. Yes, my goddess. There wasn't anything too out of the ordinary with the forest, some monsters had been there, but they were of no trouble. They did seem scared, however. As though an even greater threat resided deeper within the forest. Flashback. Otter's boots crunched beneath him as he walked through the forest, his eyes constantly watching for anything strange that could appear. The presence he had felt earlier demanded his attention to make sure it never threatened his goddess. Many monsters were caught in his gaze, yet he paid no heed to them. They weren't nearly powerful enough to take on a level 1, let alone a man of his stature. He did notice their expressions though. It was full of fear. He couldn't blame them, the aura that emitted deep within the forest sent chills down his own spine. His blood boiled in excitement at the prospect of a good fight. Wasting no more time, he bounded towards its direction. Battlelust exuded from him in waves as he neared its source. The innumerable amount of trees disappeared behind him, revealing a wasteland of monster corpses. The grass was dyed in the color of monster blood as he gazed upon a mountain of their corpses. When his eyes reached the top of the monster size of the corpse stack, his eyes widened in shock. The child sat there, no older than 7 years of age, drenched in blood and guts. The child's eyes were glued to the bows, allowing Otter the sight of his infernal blood-red eyes. A slit was in place of his pupils, something Otter took notice of. It seems the boy isn't entirely human. A crown of spiky hair adorned the boy's head, matted in the navy of monster blood, though specks of blonde were still visible. 3 whiskers on each cheek stood prominent on his cheeks, making him look not unlike the visage of a fox. He wore no clothing except for a tattered pair of shorts, emphasizing his lean frame. The bows could tell that the boy had trained a lot, the results showed. What tremendous bloodlust this boy is exuding, Otter thought. His instincts were warning him of the danger the boy presented. Not many creatures could do that, let alone humans. The last people he fought that caused his instincts to quiver were all dead or driven away. It was a shame on his record due to circumstances that his rival familias face, but he did all the things he did for his goddess. Who are you, boy? Otter asked. He didn't bring out his greatsword that rested on his back for fear of startling the boy and warranting an attack. He didn't receive an answer, so he assumed the boy was still studying him. It's impressive that you've killed all these monsters, he started. Tell me, how were you able to kill them? Silence once more answered him, slightly irritating him. Before he could speak once more, the boy finally opened his mouth. Where is she? Otter blinked. He didn't expect that. The boy gritted his teeth, showing Otter the fangs that aligned it. Where is she? I know not of who you speak of, boy. A red cloak surrounded the boy's body, causing a wave of hatred and fury to spread throughout the field. It gained the bows' attention and put him on alert. That seems like it's dangerous. In a flash, Otter's eyes went wide as he was forced to block a clawed hand that went for his throat. "Where is my sister?" He was blasted across the meadow, slamming into the trees behind him. The impact didn't hurt, but the speed of the boy certainly shocked him. He rose from his downed position with hardly a scratch. A faint stinging in his wrist rebutted that analysis. He brought his arm up to inspect it, seeing faint scratch marks that bled slightly from them. That boy, he's powerful. He didn't get any more time to marvel at his opponent's power as he was once more forced into defense. The boy's arm swiped at him in wild tandem, but Otter could tell they were more calculated than they seemed. Looks like he had some training. The boss thought. He deflected a swipe to his face and retaliated, launching his fist into the boy's gut and sending him flying. It took no time at all for him to recover and press back onto the offensive. Otter's hand caught the boy's fist when he tried punching his gut but wasn't able to hold on as another punch caught his chin, followed by a roundhouse kick that snapped his head to the side. The wind that blew away from them could attest to the strength of the impact, but the man's feet were ground in place. He caught his blood-matted adversary by his leg, throwing him away and chased after him. The boy was still in the air when Otter appeared beside him, throwing a devastating punch on the boy and slamming him down on the ground. "Ah!" the boy exclaimed, feeling the aching pain of the giant fist slamming into his body. He didn't relent though, twisting his hips in an attempt to knock the older man off his feet. He succeeded, shocking Otter as he fell. The boy used his momentum to help himself launch into the air. He didn't try to retreat and regroup, instead choosing to go aggressive and land on Otter. Otter saw stars as his opponent's feet implanted themselves into his gut, painfully caving it in. The boy didn't let up his assault, slamming his knees onto the man's arms and punching his face. Over and over and over again. Otter eventually grew tired of the constant barrage and wrenched his arm out of its trapped position under the boy's knee. The boy's vision lurched as he was thrown off Otter's chest and to the other side of the meadow. His back slammed into the dirt but didn't try to fight the tumble, he used it to right himself on his feet instead. Otter stood up and faced the boy. "You are strong, child. I commend you for it. However, you must cease your assault. Attacking me will get you nowhere, nor result in anything." The boy growled. "Shut up, where is my sister?" "I don't know who your sister is, or where she is." "Then what good are you?" "I can help you find your sister if you but give me the chance." The boy stopped, staring at Otter with a calculative gaze. "How the hell are you going to help me find my sister?" Otter began walking to the boy, steady in his pace and his hands at his side. It was a show of trust to the boy, a display that he wouldn't attack him. The child didn't react, taking the show of trust well and allowing the man to stand in front of him. "I may not be able to find her myself, but I possess a number of contacts that could assist in our search. It may not be soon or immediately, but I can help you find her." The boy stared into Otter's eyes, searching for any form of deception within them. He found none. "Say I do let you help me, what do you want in return? I know you won't do this for nothing." Otter nodded appreciatively. "You're rather insightful for a boy your age. You look to be 7. 8. -8 years old and you already possess such wisdom. Why?" The boy scowled. "Why should I tell you? I'm merely curious." Fine. My mom and dad died when I was 5, so I've had to take care of my sister all by myself. Became slum rats real quick and I had to fight for our lives a lot." As he spoke, a dark aura appeared around the boy, filled with rage, darkness, and vengeance. A flame as black as the void burned within the boy's soul, encompassing it in a furious blaze that threatened to burn anything it touched. He didn't try to fight against it, no. He relished in its heat and allowed it to run rampant. He knew what it was and what it could do. It would assist him in his vow, in completing his sworn vengeance on the beast that took his parents away. The bows grew alarmed at the aura that grew around the boy. Never before had he felt such hate in his life, all concentrated into one thing. Even though he was aware that none of it was directed at him, sweat still trickled down his forehead. With a sigh, the boy stopped his hatred from flowing, causing the aura to recede back into him. "My sister is the only person I have left, I can't lose her. So if you can help me find her, then please help me." Otter nodded at the boy's request. "I will help you find them, but in exchange there are some things I want from you." "Name 'em." 1. You will join the Freya Familia. My goddess deserves only the very best, and I believe your strength is worthy of your position amongst us. And 2. I want you to answer some questions of mine. The boy didn't waste any time thinking about the conditions. "I accept, I'll join your familia or whatever you called it. What questions you got for me?" "I have a couple." Otter started. "Why are you here in the forest?" "No clue," the child shrugged. "I just woke up to finding myself inside some weird crystal in a cave nearby. I busted out of there only to end up in the forest. Caused the monsters to attack me, but I put the down for good. I will go investigate that later, then." What is your sister's name and what does she look like? Her name is Ace. She's a blonde like me, but she's got yellow eyes instead of blue like mine. Your eyes are red though. Happens when I get angry. Something about what I am from what I remember my mom saying. Anyways, she's real tiny, like up to my shoulder. Got long hair down to her hips, too. Thank you. Now for my last question, what is your name? My name? It's Naruto. Naruto Namikaze Wallenstein. Flashback end. I went to investigate the crystal he mentioned, and I came to discover that the boy was apparently put in a time stasis. From the age of the crystal, I'd say around 1,000 years. Freya was silent as she digested the information she was given. Never before has anything remotely close to this ever occurred to her. And where is this boy now, Otter? He's currently outside the room. I've ordered him to stay put for the time being, so I may speak to you first. Well then don't keep him waiting. Bring him in. Understood, my goddess. Otter stood up and walked to the door, opening it by a small margin to allow a boy in. Now that Freya looked at him, she couldn't help but find him cute. She could see all the details Otter described to her and was glad to see that his hair was indeed blonde. He wore a plain short-sleeved orange shirt and black pants, his feet covered by white socks. Freya's heart melted at the sight of the small child who was scowling at her with his hands stuffed into his pajama pant pockets. So you're this lady goddess that the old man was talking about? He said, judging her form with his eyes. I ain't seeing the appeal that this guy's got for you. You seem like any other lady I'd see on the street. Freya's eyes widened in shock at the boy's words. She never expected such words to ever be uttered in her presence, let alone directed at the goddess herself. Oh my. Otter slammed his fist into Naruto's noggin, smashing him to the floor. Be respectful when addressing our goddess, boy. He growled. Yeah, whatever you shitty geezer. Lay off it, would ya? Naruto growled back, rubbing the bump that formed on his head. That friggin' hurt, damn it. Then don't speak ill of our goddess, brat. Why I oughta. Freya giggled at the squabble her captain and the strange boy immersed themselves into. Otter put Naruto in a headlock and gave him a noogie, and everything crumbled from there. You like that, you brat? Knock it off you senile geezer, you're gonna set my head on fire. Maybe that will teach you some respect. They both stopped what they're doing at the sound of laughter, turning their wide eyes to look at Freya, who collapsed to the ground with tears in her eyes as she laughed. The sight of his goddess's laughter warmed Otter's heart in ways that he couldn't have possibly imagined. Naruto, on the other hand, was irked at the fact that him getting abused caused it. Freya couldn't remember the last time she's ever laughed like this, or if she ever had. The feeling of just laughing her heart out was exhilarating for her, and she couldn't help but laugh some more. Her laugh was infectious, and soon enough Otter and Naruto both joined her in laughing. Well, Otter chuckled, but that was as good as anyone could get out of the warlord of the Freya familia. It took several minutes for them to calm down, but to Freya they were the greatest minutes of her immortal life. Silence claimed the room once they calmed down, none speaking up. Naruto grew tired of this real quick. I think you already know this since the old man just explained it to you, but I'm gonna join your familia in exchange for your help finding my sister. Naruto said, looking at the goddess with cerulean eyes. She nodded. Otter has told me of this, yes. And will you? I don't believe I can. You see, your sister has recently been found inside a crystal by the Loki familia, an ally turned friendly rival of our own familia. Naruto's eyes blew open as hope glimmered in it, tears building up in the corner of them. Are you serious? Please tell me you're not joking. They found my sister. Freya's warm gaze answered him. I believe they did, Naruto. She handed a newspaper to the shaking blonde, who grasped it with shaking hands. Opening the paper, his eyes unshed tears. It's her. He sank to the ground, the floodgates in his eyes giving way as he cried. It's really her, it says her name there. The goddess looked at her captain, who nodded and lowered herself to be level with Naruto. Yes, Naruto. Ace Namikaze Wallenstein has been found and is now a child of the Loki familia. Your sister is safe. The 8-year-old cried even harder, throwing himself into Freya's arms as he wept in joy. Freya's arms wrapped around him softly, comforting him as he cried. Her captain knelt beside the boy too, placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder and giving him a small smile. While he was crying, Freya decided to take a look at his soul. Shock and adoration blossomed within her as she gazed at the bright translucent soul that she held. It was so pure she couldn't help but fall in love with it. But as she gazed into the boy's soul, something vile washed over her. Her eyes trembled as the bright and pure soul was replaced by something so evil she couldn't begin to describe it. What is that, she thought shakily. How could such a bright young soul hold something so evil, so blood? Her blood froze. Comprehension escaped her as she failed to grasp what she was witnessing. Dread filled her being as she gazed into the abyss. She felt it at first, but now, she saw it. When she looked into the abyss of the boy's soul, the abyss looked back. with red, infernal, furious eyes. Begone. You do not belong here. She found herself expelled from the boy's soul, lurching her back slightly as she panted. Her eyes trembled as she looked at Naruto, who looked up at her with tearful eyes of concern. My lady. What is the matter? Otter reacted swiftly at the sight of his goddess's distress, kneeling beside her as she regained her bearings. Freya gulped. Naruto, your soul. Naruto wiped the tears from his eyes as he focused on Freya. Your soul is so beautiful, so bright and pure, nothing like I've ever seen before. I could look at it for the rest of my life and never get bored of it. Freya paused for a second, taking a breath to calm herself. But there's something in there that is terrifying. Something primordial that I can't even comprehend. It's like a void, completely black and scary. But there's something there, something I can't even begin to describe. Naruto's wide eyes gained a look of shock to them before they drooped down. I'm sorry. The look on his face broke Freya's heart. It was so sad. Oh Naruto, there's nothing to be sorry for. Freya once more embraced the child in a hug, one he quickly returned. It's part of who you are. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, I think that duality makes you even more special. She lifted Naruto's head to look at her eyes, an action he allowed to happen. As she stared into Naruto's eyes, Freya could feel love begin to form in her. She could tell that this boy was different, a feeling in her gut told her. She felt as though she could get lost in them, they looked so beautiful to her. Like an endless sky devoid of impurities or an ocean cleaner than anything she could think of. Her pupils began to transform into hearts as she continued staring at Naruto. I can't help myself anymore. I'm sorry Naruto, but you're too beautiful for me to let go. Please, she snapped out of her reverie as she felt a familiar feeling build up within her. The same wretched feeling that's been cursing her since the day she was born. The power of her charm. No, oh no. Her face became full of fear as the feeling built up, with the boy in her arms none the wiser. She looked at her captain, a fearful look that Otter recognized. He's had to deal with this multiple times, so he didn't hesitate in bolting out the door. It was instinctive at this point, having dealt with it so many times. It would prove to be a great mistake. Otter, wait. Naruto Will. Otter's eyes widened as he cursed himself for his negligence. He shut his eyes tightly as he slammed the door behind him, just as violet light covered the room his goddess resided in. I'm sorry Naruto. Several seconds went by until he saw the violet light vanish beneath him. As soon as he felt it was safe to go in, he slammed the doors open to reveal a distraught Freya, who was holding Naruto in her arms while crying. No, I didn't mean it. Please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry Naruto, I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Otter shut his eyes as he listened to the cries of his goddess, turning his head to the side as he mourned the loss of the child's individuality. I didn't mean to charm you, Naruto. Please forgive me. Freya couldn't stop crying. After so long she had found someone she thought she could truly love. Someone who, in a number of years, could hold her hand and walk with her as they fell in love. The soul of the boy she'd instantly grown to love would forever be robbed of its identity, becoming another victim to her charm. Her curse. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Why must I be cursed like this? Why must I always lose the chance to find my love? To find my... The hand brushed her face, thumb beneath her eyes moving in a way to wipe her tears. She snapped her eyes wide open, staring into the glowing eyes of the boy she thought she had charmed. Why are you crying? His tone didn't sound dead as he spoke, his eyes still possessed the glimmer that was originally there. And they were glowing. Why are you sorry? You didn't do anything to me, you know. Neither of the adults could speak, too shocked to say anything. No one had ever resisted her curse before, gods and mortals alike. To see this happen was the first for them. Freya's hope soared as she looked at the boy. Could it be? Naruto? Yeah? Naruto? That's my name. Naruto. Back. Hey, ease up on the squeeze would ya? Freya clutched Naruto to her chest as she bawled. Fears and terror transformed into elation and happiness as her tears spilled from her eyes. I'm so happy you're okay, thank you. Naruto stopped his struggle as he allowed himself to be rocked in the crying goddess's arms, wrapping his own around her. Glad I could help. There. Oi geezer, help me. What do I do to comfort Ms. Freya? Otter didn't say a word to him, a tear propped next to his eye as he smiled at the miracle his goddess was holding. He just gave a thumbs up at him. That doesn't help at all, you useless ape. Gah, someone help me. Several minutes passed them as Freya wept, holding Naruto close to her chest as Otter watched. Eventually, she calmed down enough to let him go. Naruto sighed in relief. Phew, I thought you were gonna snap me in two. You were hugging me so hard, lady. I'm too young to be walking like an old man, you know. Freya giggled wobbly, still not entirely recovered from her bawling. I'm sorry, I was just so happy that my curse doesn't work on you is all. His head tilted. What curse? You don't seem really cursed to me, you know. You see, I've been cursed with the ability to charm people. Freya's voice broke slightly, but she powered on. It's the power to make people love you and become a mindless slave for you to use. I can control it most of the time, but sometimes it just escapes me, like right now. If Otter hadn't left the room, he would have been caught in my curse. Oh wow, the boy's mouth formed an O. That's one hell of a power, lady. Yes, it's something I've been plagued with my entire life. Well, it's a good thing I'm awesome. Your charm has no effect on me, mwahahaha. Freya giggled again at the boy's attempt to lighten up the mood, which succeeded. She felt very relieved at Naruto's immunity to her charms, a sentiment Otter shared with her. Yes, it would appear so. You are far too awesome for me to charm. Otter stood at attention as he looked at the joyful face of his goddess. He didn't want to interrupt the bonding that his lady was doing with their newest member, but he knew he had to. If I may, my lady. He spoke up, gaining the attention of the child and goddess. I believe it's time for him to gain his fauna. We have completed his demand, however roundabout it may be, so I believe that this would be the perfect time for him to join. Freya's eyes lit up as she clapped her hands in delight. Ah, that's right. We should give you my fauna so you can join my familia, Naruto. She turned to the bright boy, who looked excited. What do you say? Naruto bounced excitedly as he sat. Yeah, let's do it. I would be a total loser to not go through with my part of the deal, you know. Yufufu, alright then. Stay seated while I make you my child. Eh? That sounded super weird. The back and forth served to brighten the atmosphere they were in, a much needed contrast to the gloomy and oppressive aura that had been there before. Freya grabbed a needle and pricked her finger, allowing her blood to drip onto his back. Here we go. Light shone behind Naruto as the fauna was inscribed onto his back, glowing with power as the excelia he had absorbed from slaying all those monsters in the forest. A minute later, and they were finished. And we are finished. Freya spoke behind him as she turned towards Otter. She wanted to read her newest child's status with him. I'm excited to read your status. Otter, be a dear and get me the paper, would you? Right away, goddess. Zip and zoom, Otter returned with the paper in less than a second, handing it to the goddess's outstretched hand. She placed the paper on Naruto's back as his status burned into the paper for him to see. She handed him the paper and leaned on his back to look at the paper as well, promptly being followed by the bow's captain as well. Status. Naruto Namek is Wallenstein. Level 1. Strength I0 B797. Defense I0 C689. Dexterity I0 B722. Agility I0 A888. Magic I0 C672. Magic. Shadow clones. Allows the user to create one or more copies of themselves. The user's mana is evenly divided between themselves and their clones. Creating one clone will give it half the user's mana, creating two clones will give each a third of the user's mana, and so on. Depending on how much mana the user has and how many clones they make, this rapid depletion of their reserves can be dangerous. Clones can also utilize the magic technique Shadow Clones. Erdtree's protection. Grants greater durability to those casted for a determined amount of time. A minute of time for each drop of mana put to use. The more people this is casted on, the more mana used. One person is 1 mana point per minute, 2 people are 2 mana points per minute, 3 people are 3 mana points per minute, and so on. Fireball. Hurls a ball of flames. The greater the size, the more mana utilized. Enchanted with death due to the skill Godslayer's Black Flame, but only if the user wishes. Skills. Will of Fire. The stronger the will of the wielder, the greater boost in stats and attack power will occur. In times of trouble, when all else would fail, a single strike will turn the tides. Slaughter Demon. Monstrously increases attack power for every kill the user makes. Permanently increases stats by 1 for every 3 kills. Kyuubi no Yoko. The greatest spirit that descended from the gods. Provides passive greater regeneration, heightened senses, greater durability, and extreme magic capacity to user. When cloaked in the Kyuubi's energy, each effect granted quintuples in its power, at the expense of being filled with hate. Can be stacked up to 9 times, counted by the number of tails present in the cloak. If the user can conquer the full hatred of the Kyuubi, the skill cloaks the user in gold and increases effects, combat ability and attack power to the maximum. Can only be used by those with spirit blood. Vanitas Otter. Destined love of the goddess Freya. Grants immunity to all charms of every strength and grants greater excelia count to the power, endurance, agility, and magic. Combat ability permanently and higher battle IQ is increased alongside it, due to Freya also being the goddess of war. Lyris Freeze. Fast growth as long as the user is in love. The strength of the effects corresponds with the level of the user's feelings. As a side effect, it makes the user immune to charms. Great Sage. Favored by nature and excelia, extreme growth is inevitable. Increases excelia count gathered and increases power when actively gathering energy from the surrounding atmosphere. Can only be used by those in favor with the spirits or possess spirit blood. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Godslayer's Black Flames. The flames enchanted by death, capable of burning even divinity itself. Grants all fire spells the enchantment of death, slowly burning through the life and divinity of all that it touches. Can only be put out through spirit magic or the user's will. Effect increases based on user's hate. Balance Breaker. Normal doesn't apply. Limits typically found on the Falna are non-existent. Allows user to possess an infinite number of magics to be used and eliminates the cap of stats that others are bound by. Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Sage of Six Paths. Increases the user's level by 1, keeping all the stats they possess in their level before the increase. Example being a high level 5 going into a high level 6 using this skill. Mark of the Sun. Gives user the ability to manipulate all physical matter, ranging from complete annihilation to absolute restoration of a person or object. Can be used to heal others. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the moon, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Truth Seeker Orb. Grants 6 orbs of nothingness that erase anything it comes in contact with, the exception being the user and those the user chooses not to harm. Status. Their eyes grew wider and wider with each word that passed their eyes. When they finished, Otter and Freya looked at Naruto in shock. Otter grew incredibly excited at the potential Naruto possessed, imagining all the glory that he would bring to the Freya familia and their goddess. Freya felt the same way, but her mind was stuck on one thing alone. His skill Vanitas Otter. Her vision went blurry once more at the confirmation she got to her earlier hope. She had done it, she'd finally found him, her Otter. Her destined one. Her love. Naruto, her voice went wobbly again, prompting said boy to swivel his head and look at her. He wasted no time in jumping back, turning his body to the side with his leg bent in the air as he hugged his body tightly. Nah, you don't get to squish me into Naruto paste this time, you know. Freya didn't stop her sniffling, and Naruto caught Otter slowly backing away from the goddess. Traitor. Turning his gaze back to the goddess, he was horrified at the kicked puppy look Freya had adopted. The same look his sister used whenever she didn't get something she wanted. Ah crap. Fine. Naruto. Freya leapt into the air and tackled Naruto to the ground, squishing him between her and it as she cried in joy and relief. Naruto could only groan in pain as he was once more subjected to being a crying pillow for the bawling goddess. How many times can a girl cry in a single hour? Otter help. Otter didn't do anything of the sort. He merely waited for his goddess to finish with a pleased grin on his face. He may have been overjoyed at Naruto's potential, but he still enjoyed seeing the boy suffer. He was too cheeky and disrespectful, so Otter had to find a way to curb that. It totally wasn't because he was called an old geezer, no sir. Serves you right, boy. Suffer for my enjoyment. You bastard. After Freya finished crying again, she stood up. Well, she started, holding out a hand for Naruto to take. I think we've spent enough time cooped up here. It's still early in the night, so how about we go see Loki and her familia? Naruto perked up at that. That's the one Ace is in, right? Right. Yes, Naruto. Let's go see this little Ace, shall we? Yahoo. I'm coming, my little sister. Wait for your big brother, I'll come see you right away. Naruto bolted out the door in excitement, much to the amusement of Otter and Freya. Otter turned to the goddess. Are you okay, my lady? You were crying quite a bit. I am doing more than okay, Otter. Freya said. I am the happiest I've been my entire life. I've finally found the one I will later call my Otter. After so many centuries of searching, I've finally found him. All thanks to you, Otter. She turned her head to the bows, whose heart melted at the vulnerable and happy look Freya gave him. Thank you so much, I am the most blessed goddess to have received a child like you. Otter's face turned to bliss at the goddess's words, and his bliss deepened when the goddess pulled him in a hug. It was the most contact that he had ever experienced with Freya, so by every god in existence was he going to enjoy it. Eventually, she pulled back. Freya smiled at him again. Come, Otter. Let us make haste, we don't want Naruto to get lost and run into one of the others now, do we? Otter chuckled. No, we do not. He would probably start a fight with any of them. Though I think Hogni and Naruto would get along very well. Freya giggled in response. Suddenly, Naruto's head popped up in the doorway. Do any of you guys know how to get out of here? I kinda got lost. 100. 101. 102. 103. A blonde girl counted the number of swings she performed in her head. She was focused on her task, not allowing anything around her to distract her from her training. It's been several weeks since she woke up, several weeks since these new people told her she had been put into this stasis stingy. The 7-year-old couldn't understand the big word the nice lady used, but it sounded something like that. Ever since she had found out her brother was missing, she had been inconsolable, locking herself away and training as the black flame within her blazed uncontrollably. She didn't mind, it helped her get stronger. Anything that could help her get her big brother back would help. Revenge could be put on hold for now, her top priority was finding her brother. Getting stronger would help her find her brother, the same way her brother's strength protected her. So deeply immersed was she in her training, she didn't notice the call of her name being sounded out by an elf. "Aze. There's someone here to see you." Aze looked at the elf blankly, her gold eyes lacking any light in them. "Reveria." "Hello, Aze." Reveria bent down and smiled, hoping to warm the girl. She didn't. "There's someone here to see you. He's at the front of the Twilight Manor." Aze turned her attention away from Reveria. She didn't bother properly responding, she had more important things to do. She had to get stronger to find Big Brother, she couldn't let some random distract her from that. "He's with the Freya Familia, Aze." He said his name was Naruto. Aze swerved her head to look at the elf, eyes wide in shock and disbelief. Reveria nodded at the girl. "Yes, he's claiming to be her." Biggie Bro Aze sprinted down to the exit of the training grounds, leaving Reveria behind without a second thought. Aze couldn't think, she couldn't think of anything else than getting to the front of the manor, sprinting with all the speed she could muster to get there in time. She was approaching the corner to turn to the exit when she heard it. "Hey, let me in. I want to see my little sister. I'm trying to get to my sister Aze." "We told you, kid, even if you're part of the Freya Familia you can't get in without permission from our goddess or one of the executives." "Screw both of them with a flaming stick of monster crap. I don't care about that. Let me go see my sister." "Oh, I get back here, you brat." Aze had just turned the corner to see the figure of the one she loved most in the world, grappling and fighting his way into the manor with little success. Tears welled up in her eyes at the sight of him. "Big brother." Naruto kicked the guard holding him and looked at Aze, eyes widening as well. He didn't hesitate and sprinted towards the little girl, Aze following suit. "Aze." "Big brother." They embraced each other tightly, hugging each other for dear life as Aze bawled like she never had before. Relief filled her as she held the only family she had left, crying with every bit of emotion she possessed. "Big brother. You're alive. You're okay." "Why Naruto hugged Aze close to his chest, tears streaking down his own face silently as he held her. He whispered comforts to her as she cried, trying to placate the girl who thought she lost all of her family. "I'm here, Aze. I'm here. It's alright, let it all out. I'm here." "Why The sound of the girl crying brought all of the residents to the front, watching her bawl into the comfort of her brother. Cooes could be heard as the women looked adoringly at the two, though one red-heated goddess was also crying comedically at the heartfelt reunion the two were experiencing. Freya stared lovingly at the two's love for each other, adoring the way both their souls shined with a purity and beauty that left her in awe and ecstasy. Neither of the two siblings cared, they were just happy that they were reunited. After 1,000 years, they were finally reunited. Gently, Naruto thumbed his sister's chin to look at her face, stained in tears though it may be. He smiled lovingly at her, like any brother would to their sister. "I've missed you, Aze. It's been a long 1,000 years without you." Aze sniffed. "Big brother. I won't ever leave you again, lil sis. Never." Aze regained her tears that were thumbed away by Naruto. "Don't cry now, Aze. You're much more beautiful when you smile." Naruto grinned at her widely, his fangs prominently displaying themselves for all the onlookers to see. His eyes squinted so tightly they appeared shut, an action that showed just how happy he was at the moment. Aze giggled, grinning just as widely as her brother, just as happy as him. Her own small fangs were seen, slightly shocking those of the Loki Familia, though none of them made any sound to signify it. They didn't want to ruin this touching moment between the brother and sister. Naruto and Aze stood up, holding each other's hand as they walked up to Freya, who gazed upon them with blushing cheeks and a loving gaze, not unlike that of a mother's. "Miss Freya. Otter. This is my little sister Aze. Isn't she the cutest?" he exclaimed, gesturing to the blushing Aze with zealous hands, "Think of Tanjiro." Freya nodded just as zealous as the boy and squealed, Otter putting a hand on her shoulder to prevent her from squishing the cutely blushing Aze. "Oh, she looks like the most adorable little girl I've ever seen in my life." Aze blushed even brighter than before, bowing down to Freya just like Naruto had taught her. Thank you very much. Her little accent was the breaking point for Freya, who suplex slammed Otter into the ground and bounded towards the tiny half-spirit. If she's Naruto's sister, who is a half-spirit himself, then it's obvious that Aze is one as well. Plus she is half-spirit in canon as well. "Oh, you are just the cutest little girl ever, it's no wonder you're related to Naruto, you're both just so cute." She squealed as she rubbed and pinched Ace's cheeks as though they were dough, much to the cute annoyance of the said girl. You. Stop that. Pwease Freya only squealed and continued. You cow. How dare you lay your grubby hands on my Azy poo. Let her go right now. The Redeed declared, finally having enough of the sight of her rival goddess getting all chummy with her A's. Those cheeks were hers alone to play with, no one else. Freya stopped her playing, releasing the cheeks of the pouting girl to address her fellow goddess. Hello Loki. Hello Freya, hope you had fun turning my Azy poo to mush. Oh I had plea. Boy, hold up. You're Azy poo. Back off, she's mine. That's my sister you're talking about, you know. The goddesses weren't able to get into their usual banter as Naruto butted in, looking at Loki with a pout and squinted eyes. Ace thought it made him look like a fox, and so did everybody else. Loki's eyes gained hearts at the sight. Oh look at you, you're adorable. She proceeded to play with his cheeks like Freya did to Ace. These cheeks are so squishy. Oi oi oi, what do you think you're doing? Put my cheeks down right now. Naruto exclaimed as his turn for being assaulted arrived. Ace pouted in the corner. Oh you even have whiskers too. Do you purr if I touch it? Oh I wanna know. Oh I keep your creepy crawlies away from my whiskers. Freya gained a dangerous aura to her, smiling menacingly at Loki. Loki dear, I hope you aren't trying to pet those cute whiskers of his before I do. Everyone took at least 2 steps back from the angry goddess. Loki raised an eyebrow. Well duh, you squished my Azy poo. It's only fair I do the same to little Narukayu, oh I very much am saying that, Loki. Now get your hands off my child and let's talk. I don't think The purr interrupted their conversation. Everyone blinked, turning their heads to the direction of Naruto as he purred. Loki's finger was grazing and scratching his whisker involuntarily. It wasn't something he was even aware of, like all of his awareness went out the window and basked in the feeling of the petting. Loki grinned at the sound. Oh yeah, I'm definitely taking you with me. She just couldn't get enough of it. It was just too cute. Do not even joke about such things, Loki. He is part of my familia. Attempting to take him would be the same as declaring war on us. Freya's frigid voice sent shivers down everyone's spine, Loki more so as she took a glimpse at the love goddess's eyes. Yep. Yandir alert. All hands on deck, we have an angry Yandir glaring at me. Loki thought, terrified of the look in Freya's frigid violet eyes, promised only death and bloodshed should she even attempt to take Naruto for herself. Loki knew Freya would be possessive of the cute boy, but to this extent. To the point she looked like she would commit mass genocide to the entirety of her familia, herself included. Yeah, no thanks. She was fine with just her Azy poo. That was enough for her. Loki raised her hands up in surrender, slowly backing up from the boy, nervously chuckling. Okay, you win. I won't try to snatch Narukain for myself. Good. Freya snatched Naruto closer to her, hugging him close to her bust, much to the boy's embarrassment. Naruto is mine, and mine alone. I won't allow anyone else to even think about taking him from me. Ace pouted in dismay. She was looking forward to having her big brother in the same familia as her. They could have gotten strong together and taken down all the baddies together. She glared cutely at Freya. Meanie poo. Otter made his presence known with a cough, turning all their attention to him. This meeting was just to help Naruto confirm that his sister is safe and not in danger. I believe we will be ready to head out, my lady. Freya nodded. After this, Otter. I was thinking of exchanging status sheets with Loki to compare our 2 little cutie pies. I will show you my Naruto status in exchange for seeing Ace's. Does that sound acceptable? Loki raised an eyebrow skeptically. And what could you possibly gain from that, Freya? Knowing you, there's some sort of scheme being concocted up in your crazy head. There's no ulterior motives, Loki. Freya giggled, grabbing Naruto's status sheet she had Otter hold. I simply wish to compare our 2 new familia members is all. Sensing Freya's words to be the truth, she turned towards Gareth, an executive of her familia, and had him bring Ace's latest status sheet. Once she had it in hand, the 2 of them exchanged them. Naruto and Ace pouted in tandem, still upset at the whole thing that transpired previously. Status. Ace Namikaze Wallenstein. Level 1. Power I-77. Endurance I-61 I-69. Dexterity H-132. Agility H-125. Magic I-80. Magic. Aerial. Enchant-type magic that can imbue things with wind. It has been mentioned as being far beyond normal enchant-type magic. Skills. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Storm Empress. Increases the potency and effects of all wind-related magic the user utilizes. Curse of Hatred. Increases growth of the user the more hatred they hold in their heart. Increases attacking power exponentially when in combat. Effects rises based on the user's hate. Dragon Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Mark of the Moon. Allows user to manipulate all magical and spiritual matters. Passively gives user increased finesse and mobility when in combat. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the sun, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Spirit Princess. The princess of the spirits, daughter of the queen. Increases all magic abilities and mana the user possesses. Can only be used by those who possess the blood of the spirit queen. Status. Oh my, this is very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Freya muttered to herself, but smirked due to her knowledge of Naruto's own status, which far exceeded Aize's. I know my little sis is amazing, but this is beyond awesome. Aize, you totally rule. Naruto picked up Aize in a hug and twirled her around, exiting her laughter. There's no freaking way that boy has so many op skills. And what is even with these stats? These are impossible to get in such a short amount of time. Loki yelled, shocked out of her mind about Naruto's status. Aize escaped her brother's hug and ran over to Loki, snatching the paper and reading the contents for herself. Big brother's so cool, she whispered in awe, looking at her brother in adoration. It was this moment that truly cemented her idolization for Naruto. She wanted to catch up to him, to the boy she considered her hero. Naruto chuckled sheepishly as everyone's gaze turned to him, unable to believe the contents of the paper they had just read. Oomph. Aize slammed herself into Naruto, gazing up at him with stars in her eyes. You're amazing, big brother. The coolest big brother ever. Freya giggled into her hand, prompting Loki to glare at her. The love goddess spoke up. Well, I believe we should get going now. Naruto, come along. We'll come visit the Loki familia again tomorrow. You and Aize can go dungeon diving tomorrow if you'd like. Can we really? Both Naruto and Aize looked at Freya with stars in their eyes. Loki nodded in Freya's place. Yeah, go ahead. Just as make sure you have someone strong to keep an eye on you, Cabbage. Indeed. I'll have Hogni watch over them so they don't get hurt. He's a level 4 now, so nothing in the upper floors will be able to bother him. Sounds good. Say goodbye, kids. You'll get to see each other again tomorrow. Naruto and Aize became sad at the fact that they would be leaving each other again after just being reunited. Aize looked at Naruto with big eyes, tears forming at the corner of them. You promise that you'll come visit tomorrow, big brother? Her shaky voice struck a chord in everyone's heart at that moment. The pain in them was far greater than they had expected there to be. Naruto nodded, sad he was leaving his sister as well. I promise, Aize. We'll go dungeon diving tomorrow and have tons of fun killing bad guys, okay? Okay. Naruto brought his lips to Aize's forehead, kissing them for the first time in 1,000 years. He pulled away to look at Aize. I'll be going now, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Oh okay, bye big brother. Naruto turned around to face the direction of Freya and Otter, following them as they waited for him. Aize watched him with sad eyes, unable to accept her brother leaving her again. Big brother. She sprinted across the field to Naruto, her vision blurry with renewed tears. Naruto turned to face Aize in time to see her nearing him. He smiled, raising his index and middle finger to poke his little sister's forehead when she got close. Oh big brother, she whined at the stinging on her forehead, making Naruto laugh. That's what you get for trying to ambush me like that, lil sis. You mean me poo. Haha, maybe I am one. Naruto smiled brightly at Aize one more time before resuming his journey back to Folkvanger, the home of the Freya familia. I'll see you soon, Aize. I can't wait to play again. Aize nodded tearfully, it seemed like tears was the theme of the day for her, and waved at the retreating form of her brother. See you tomorrow, big brother. I can't wait to play with you again. Let's play a lot tomorrow, okay? Naruto raised his arm to his side, lifting his thumb in confirmation to Aize's declaration. He would definitely make good on that. A stray thought hit his head. I must look so cool right now. Big brother, that's so uncool. Aize chopped Naruto's thoughts to ribbons, though he knew not of it. Still, I'm glad you're here now. She turned away from the departing members of the Freya familia. I'll catch up to you, big brother. Just you watch. And so, as the night's moon reached its apex, two legends were created. A brother and sister that would cause the beginning of a new era in Arario. The era that many dreamed of coming back once again. The Age of Heroes. Your training begins tomorrow morning at 4, Naruto. Do not be late. Wah? You shitty geezer, that's in barely 4 hours. I don't care. Be ready. It. Slumber was something Naruto relished. The bliss of just laying down in a warm bed felt like heaven to him, something he hadn't felt since his parents died. He didn't think about such things, though. He was too busy snuggling into the pillow he laid his head on. Strange, he didn't remember putting a pillow on top of his head. The night sky gleamed comfortably into his room, no worries or fears plaguing his mind. It truly was bliss for the boy. Too bad Otter exists. Wake up. We have training to do. Otter slammed open the door, startling Naruto awake. Ah, what the hell are you doing? Get up, we have training to do. I told you we would begin our training at 4 in the morning, and I am a man of my word. On your feet. You can't do that. I just woke up from a 1,000-year sleep. All the more reason you should get up, boy. You've slept long enough, now it's time to put work into making our goddess proud. No. Yes. Nuo. Oh, for fuck's sake, can you all shut up in there? I'm trying to sleep. Quiet, Alan, you'll get your beating too. Naruto growled menacingly at his captain. I finally get to sleep in a comfy bed, you shitty geezer. You're not taking that away from me. He slammed his open hand down on his pillow to emphasize his resolve in the matter. NGHYAA Naruto, not so ROUGH. The two males blinked. They weren't expecting any noise to sound out in the room except for their own. Slowly, the two men turned their heads to where the sound came from. Beneath Naruto's hand. What the hell? Naruto's face exploded into red. Why? Because Freya laid on his bed next to him, spooning his legs and moaning softly. He realized why as his hand twitched, squeezing Freya's boob. Oh my Otter, I didn't know you wanted to be mine so quickly. Freya's voice oozed with arousal and desire, neither of which Naruto understood, as she lifted her eyes slightly. Her face warmed as she looked at Naruto and caressed him with her soft hands. Give me a kiss, please my Otter, I've waited far too long for this. Naruto went into full panic mode as Freya puckered her lips, unable to remove himself from the ironclad grip the seemingly frail goddess possessed. Otter, being the useless bastard he is, looked at them with amusement, holding in his laughter at Naruto's panic. Oi oi oi. I ain't ready to kiss someone, you know. Mama told me to never kiss anyone until I was at least 15. I'm only 8. Someone help me. I don't want cooties. His eyes met with Otter's, and in classic Naruto fashion, he pleaded for the man to save him. The bro link connected their thoughts together. Otter, help me. I don't want to get cooties from Miss Freya. The lips of the bows turned into a condescending smirk as he smugly stared into Naruto's panicked eyes. No can do, boy. My goddess wishes to kiss you, so she will kiss you. You traitor. You would throw your fellow comrade and brother into the jaws of the abyssal serpent. To be forever be shorn of light. All is in the will of my goddess. Curse you, Otter. Naruto began to squirm in an effort to escape the approaching face of Freya. He didn't succeed, and his hopes of escape were forever vanquished. Otta, HMPH. Freya's lips captured Naruto's own as she kissed him, locking her lips with his with tenderness and love. She didn't attempt to escalate the kiss, something the young boy was infinitely grateful for. She broke apart after a few moments, a small string of saliva connecting the two of them. Naruto's face was a neon pink as his brain lost every function it ever possessed. How could he not be flustered? The goddess of love and beauty had just full-on kissed him with as much love as she could muster. To the side of them, Otter's face was full of content. Content in seeing Naruto flustered as hell, that is. Awa. Freya giggled as Naruto broke down in front of her. She was happy with the way things had turned out. Waking up to Naruto groping her chest may not have been something she planned, or so she tells herself, but it was most certainly a welcomed feeling. And the kiss, Freya couldn't fight down her blush. Oh, the kiss was just wonderful. She felt as though 100 fireworks lit up in her as she felt her lips. Is this what they call a maiden in love? Am I a maiden in love? Yes, she most certainly is. Weird goddess, that one. Otter smirked, grabbing the catatonic Naruto by the back collar of his shirt, holding him like a mother cat would her kitten. He wasn't bothered by the lack of clothes Freya had on as he spoke to her. I apologize for taking away your new pillow, Goddess Freya, however Naruto and I have some training to do. Yufufu. Your apology is accepted, my child. I shall be here for the remainder of the night should you need me. Then by your leave, my goddess. Otter turned and left the room, dragging Naruto behind him. Freya found the sight amusing and couldn't help but giggle as she wondered what sort of changes her Otter would bring to her familia. Her giggling intensified as Naruto's yell echoed throughout Folklinger's corridors. What the hell just happened? Alan gazed outside his window, a cup of coffee in hand as he looked at the sky. The blue morning sky was always refreshing to look at for the level 4 adventure. With his coffee in hand, Alan was sure nothing would faze him. The boulder crashed through his window and smashed him into the wall. Boom. Down at the training ground the sounds of explosions and metal could be heard, dirt and rocks flying with each slam of a giant greatsword. Ah, someone save me. Otter's trying to kill me. The trainee screamed in fright as he dodged another slam of the boss's greatsword. Man up, boy. You possessed far more drive when you tried to kill me yesterday, where did that go now? That was then and this is now. Then fight as you did yesterday or die trying. I've been fighting you for 4 friggin' hours. And you've barely landed more than a dozen hits on me. You were far stronger yesterday, where is that drive now? Otter roared, catching Naruto with the flat side of his blade and sending him flying. Is your resolve so weak that you become soft after accomplishing your initial goal? What about your dream? Your revenge? Channel that energy and hatred within you and break it to your will. Naruto growled at Otter's words, reminding him of his main goal. Fine. You want to fight? I'll give you a fight. His eyes turned red as he launched himself at his trainer, throwing his right fist into the chest of Otter and caving it in slightly. Naruto's skills worked in tandem, boosting his stats to help keep up with his trainer's impossible strength. He didn't let up on the assault as he weaved beneath a swing from Otter and kicked his side, smacking the open palm of Otter who expected it. You're too predictable. Naruto slammed into the ground roughly thanks to the bows throwing him down, but he recovered quickly and threw his feet at the man's gut. He connected, however ended up just pushing himself back in order to avoid a downward haymaker. Flipping backwards to right his position, he landed on his feet and observed Otter. Otter nodded in approval. Good, you're improving. Well, it is good to not allow your opponent to recuperate. Taking a tactical retreat to observe your opponent is also key to winning a battle. He raised his arm to block a downward kick from his trainee. You possess incredible potential and are incredibly strong for your level and age, but you're rash. You lose reasoning when you become angered, and pushing certain buttons makes it easy to enrage you. Control yourself within a fight, losing yourself to blind anger will cost you fatally. Naruto nodded and rushed Otter again, punching and kicking at him to try and break his guard to no success. He shot his leg at his captain's ribs, only to be parried and punched instead. He didn't allow the pain to distract him, allowing the force of the punch to send him back and give him distance. Observing Otter's stance to look for any openings, he growled when he found none. Fine, if there isn't any openings for me to use, I'll just make one. Naruto launched himself at Otter, using more of the Kyuubi skill he possessed to amplify his power in an attempt to throw Otter off guard. While it did surprise the bows, he didn't show any signs of it by reacting in time to block Naruto. A barrage of fists and legs were exchanged between the two, neither backing down for even a second. Naruto waited patiently for his moment to counter, maneuvering through punches and sending them back. He found his opportunity when Otter tried to grab him. Ducking below the grab and turning on his heel, he jumped up to land a kick on the Otter's head. He would have connected if it wasn't for an elbow to the face that sent him careening in the air. Naruto yelled in pain as he landed on the ground, tumbling through the grassy terrain before he slammed into the wall, spider cracks forming due to the impact. The impact knocked the wind out of him, giving the boy tears as he tried to fill his lungs with oxygen. Good work. That move of yours would have worked on any other adventure. Otter walked up to him with his arms crossed, waiting for Naruto to recover and continue. Naruto coughed weakly. Yeah, well it sure as hell ain't working on you. You're a level 1 fighting against a level 6, boy. That level difference is far too immense to make up with skill. Stats play a big part in battle too. Still, I did everything correctly, didn't I? How were you able to react? Otter hummed for a second. For me it was 2 factors. He raised a finger. The first and more obvious one is our huge level difference. I am much superior to you in every aspect right now, so you must catch up to my level in order to be of any challenge to me. And the second? Expectations. In battle, expectations and controlling the flow of battle is key for victory. It is very much true that an adventurer must rely on their instincts to assist them in battle, however, through certain actions and movements you can direct the flow of battle to your favor, just as I had done just now. What do you mean? Take my attack just now for example. My grapple had 2 separate purposes to it. One would be to grab you and land a decisive blow on you. The second was for it to act as bait should the initial purpose fail. Naruto listened to his instructor with focused eyes, absorbing every word that Otter spoke. You saw an opportunity in my grapple and took it. However, you weren't expecting a counter-attack to your own counter-attack, did you? A shakehead answered his question. That is called a bait. I baited you into a movement I wanted you to make so that I can land my own attack. It is true that when you see your opponent attempt to make decisive attacks such as that you should capitalize on it, but you must be able to identify whether it's a bait or the real thing. Naruto nodded his head, prompting Otter to return to his previous position. Begin. Naruto made no moves to pursue an attack, circling Otter to see if he could find any weak points for him to exploit. He saw one, but he knew it was a bait. His enhanced eyes could see the coiling of Otter's muscles ready to spring into action, and even if he couldn't, he figured it was strange for only one weak point to be available. Finishing up his observation, the blonde leapt into action. He kicked up a rock that was lying on the ground, a result of the damage done to the wall behind him, and threw it at the bows as hard as he could. Otter tilted his head to the side, letting rock sail by his head as he kept his eyes trained on Naruto's incoming form, readying himself for an attack that was bound to come. Once more, a fury of attacks were exchanged. Punch after punch, kick after kick, the battle between the two was electrifying. Adrenaline pumped in Naruto's veins as he used all of his focus to not turn into tomato paste. He kicked at Otter's side, withdrawing it as soon as it contacted the big hand of its owner to prevent being grabbed. He was forced to duck under another punch sent his way, slipping between the big man's legs and propelling himself into the air, ready to deliver a power punch. The ground splintered as the punch was blocked, wind blasting everywhere with rocks and debris. Naruto got sent flying back due to his small stature and weight, landing in a crouch and observed the still form of his captain. Alright, how can I land an attack on that bastard, he thought, narrowing his eyes in concentration. Nothing I throw at him works, how can I create an opening for me to use? It took a few seconds of thinking before Naruto's eyes lit up. That's right, I can bait him. Alright, I think I can do this. Just gotta look for the right moment. With that thought, he dashed into the fray. He deflected a punch from the man, redirecting his body to elbow Otter in the face. It didn't succeed, but found solace in the fact that he hadn't been punished for any openings he may have left himself privy to. As Naruto landed, he noticed Otter's body go down with bent knees. This is it. His thoughts went wild as he saw an opportunity to put his plan into motion. He jumped in order to avoid a leg sweep from Otter and went for an airborne roundhouse kick with his left leg. Seeing his opponent move to block the kick, he quickly withdrew his leg and repositioned himself with a spin, raising his right leg this time too and unleashed a guillotine kick with all his strength at the boss's head. "You're through, old man." Naruto yelled as he landed the kick, smashing Otter into the ground, sending dirt flying high into the sky. A mini crater formed around Otter's form as he lay there dazed. Shock coursed through Otter as registered what had happened. Sure, the attack didn't hurt, and if he were expecting it he would have been able to block it, but it was still a clean hit that a level 1 adventurer did. No matter how anyone dices it up, it is an undisputed fact that a level 1 shouldn't and couldn't land attacks to anyone higher in level. A smirk formed on Otter's face as he got up from the ground. "How far will you go, Naruto? You will make our goddess proud." "That was good, boy. Very good." Naruto stopped to listen to his teacher's words. "You're quick on your feet and think quickly. These are very good traits to have in battle. More importantly, you are unpredictable. I had not expected an attack like that from you, nor would I have thought anyone would be able to pull something like that off unless they were much higher in level. Well yeah, I used that baiting thingy you told me you did earlier. Worked pretty well, if I do say so myself. Indeed it did." Otter chuckled. "You did well with that move, Naruto. It was one worthy of a powerful adventurer such as yourself." Naruto rubbed his nose smugly, red eyes gleaming with pride. I'm pretty awesome like that, aren't I? Don't get a big head, boy, this is only just the beginning. Let us begin once more." Freya could hear the sounds of combat as she traversed down the stairs, dressed in a comfortable white sunflower dress and fuzzy slippers. The heads of her familia turned at the sight of her, desperate to memorize her smiling face and cute attire. "My lady, it is an honor to see you," a blonde elf said, bowing his head to her. "I must ask if there is anything you wish for, my goddess. If there is, allow me to retrieve it for you." "Ah, Hedon, good morning." Freya smiled warmly at him, causing Hedon to shiver in delight. "I am fine for now, but I do wish to know where my captain is. I haven't seen him since early this morning." Hedon raised his head to look at Freya, his expression one of nervousness. "As of right now, Captain Otter is in his personal training grounds. He has ordered everyone to not disturb him." "That's wonderful. Thank you, Hedon." Everyone in their area gave Hedon glares, none of which Hedon paid any attention to. He was just too happy to be thanked by his goddess. "I live only for you, my goddess. If I may ask, what is it you require of the captain?" Freya's smile brightened at the question. "I won't be saying anything right now, it's a surprise for the familia." With that said, Freya turned to the direction of the training grounds. "If you wish, Hedon, you may accompany me. No one else." "Yes, goddess. It would be an honor." Neither of the two gave any attention to the death glares that the familia members gave Hedon, whose expression was brighter than it had ever been before. With every step they took towards the training grounds, the sounds of combat grew louder. Hedon's curiosity grew as he took in Freya's look of excitement. What could Otter be doing to make even our goddess excited? "You must be quicker, boy. Use your unpredictable nature to your advantage, don't allow your opponent to catch wind of your next move." Bam. Brah. Damn it, again. Bam. Good, you are learning. Don't allow your opponent to dictate the flow of battle, throw off their rhythm and take control at that precise moment. Bam. Die. Two voices could be heard by the goddess and elf as they opened the doors to where Otter was training at. The sight that Hedon saw was one that he never would have expected in a million years. Standing in front of him was Otter, roughed up slightly with slightly torn clothes covering him. No damage could be seen done to him, but it was evident he was in a scuffle. Oof. A figure slammed into the wall beside them, sprawled eagle style while being embedded in it. It was a boy, maybe 7 or 8, bloody and bruised beyond anything he had seen before. Naruto. Freya cried at the boy who was bleeding with an out-of-it look on his face. Ah crap, that's gonna sting, Naruto muttered in a daze, slipping out of the wall slowly. His form went chibi and two-dimensional as he floated down to the ground like a leaf. Totally thought I had that one. Naruto, are you alright? Freya was at the boy's side in an instant, surveying the damage done to his body. Oh dear, what happened to you? Did Otter really go this rough on you? Naruto's chibi form laid lifelessly on the ground, his eyes swirling comedically in hilarious fashion. Ah, Papa, is that you? I'm coming, Papa. Ding. Naruto. Freya cried with a river of tears pouring from her eyes. Don't go to your Papa, Naruto. Stay here with Mommy, Freya. The reason why she said this? Simple. Naruto's soul was escaping from the boy's mouth, floating away into the sky. Otter didn't allow that to happen, grabbing the soul in a strangling grip and shoved it back into its body. The Ishen form of the chibi kid returned to its original color and inflated instantly, poofing back into existence. I'm alive. Naruto screamed as he lurched up onto his feet. He's alive. That was Hedon and Freya. What happened to you, Naruto? Did Otter really put you in that condition? Why would you fight for so long? Do I need to punish Otter? Naruto was taken aback by Freya's onslaught of questions while Otter went pale. He didn't like that last question Freya asked. Naruto cleared the brain fog he had with a violent shake to his head, fully waking him up from the daze he was in. Hi Miss Freya, how are you doing? Naruto asked with a bright grin, proudly showing off his fangs to her. The goddess of love laughed happily at Naruto's grin, delighted to see him alright. I'm alright now, Naruto. I'm glad to see you so happy right now. Her face took on a serious look. Now, what was that I just saw right now? Did Otter really hurt you that bad? His grin turned menacing as Naruto turned his head to the paling captain, his eyes completely skipping over Hedon. Otter was covered in sweat thanks to the look Naruto sported. He knew he was going to be put in the ringer now. Only one option was left for him to employ, one he desperately wished Naruto would heed. The mental bro link. Naruto, don't you dare. Oh, I'm daring alright. After that hell you put me through this entire morning. How the hell could I not? I swear you will regret this, boy. Don't you dare. That's right, Miss Freya. Otter threw me around like a punching bag since 4 o'clock in the morning today. Non-stop too, with no breaks. Naruto joyfully chirped, not bothered in the least of the threatening gaze the bows had sent his way. Not even the raging demonic aura of his goddess dimmed his smile. It only made it brighter. Otter felt like he turned to ash as Naruto opened his mouth, weeping silently as he promised himself to administer a lifetime of harsh training for the boy. Otter's red glowing eyes glared at the warlord, striking fear greater than he had ever experienced in his entire life. He just had to survive this first. One crazy beatdown later, a refreshed and radiant Freya walked back towards Hedon and Naruto, allowing them to see the heavily bruised and beaten face of Otter, equipped with large mounts the scalp of his head. By the time Freya was done beating Otter, Naruto had fully healed from his injuries. Naruto laughed at the sight of the mighty warlord's deposition, considering the fact that he was face planted into the ground and his ass stuck in the air. If anyone else saw the sight, they too would have the same reaction. Hedon didn't blame them in the slightest. Hedon didn't focus on the horrendous condition of his captain, instead choosing to address something greater. My lady, may I be permitted to ask you a question? Freya turned her attention to Hedon. You may. Thank you, my lady. If I may ask, who is the boy currently laughing at our captain? I don't believe I've ever seen him before. Ah, I'm glad you asked. He's my new child, Hedon. He received my fauna last night. Hedon's eyes widened. Shock couldn't begin to describe the sensation he was feeling right now. This boy is a new member of our familia. Indeed he is. My lady, I don't mean any disrespect, but Hedon shifted his gaze to Naruto, who could be seen laughing around the smoking body of Otter. Isn't he far too young? Our familia won't take kindly to him. Freya nodded in understanding at Hedon's words. She knew that the majority of her familia only joined for her love, and seeing the young boy take all of it for himself could certainly cause them to grow hostile to him. Humans were jealous and fickle creatures, after all. Not since the Age of Heroes did one of them prove to be greater than the average in both might and mentality. Her children might not lack in might for today's standards, but they most certainly did in mentality. I am aware, Hedon. She said, ignoring the bewilderment the elf expressed. That is why I am keeping him a secret from the rest of the familia. The only other people I'd permit seeing him apart from Otter would be you and Hogni. Hedon took a few seconds to digest what was told to him, but smiled when he did so. He felt incredibly blessed that his goddess loved him enough to entrust him with this secret, even if he had to share it with his rival. I am most honored to be one you consider worthy of this, my lady. I shall do all I can to keep him from the eyes of the others. Good, and inform Hogni that I have a task for him. I'll introduce him to my newest child when he goes out for his dungeon trip today. Of course, my lady. With their conversation finished, they turned their attention back to a still laughing Naruto and Otter, who finally gathered enough energy to hoist himself up from the ground. Oh, man. You got laid flat on your butt, old geezer. Naruto pointed at the now recovered Otter with a laugh. Seems like he wouldn't be getting rid of that laugh anytime soon. Before Otter could make any sort of comeback to the rambunctious blonde, Freya interfered. Now, Otter. Would you really allow a child to rile you up so much? You don't want a repeat of my punishment, do you? Freya asked in a chilling voice, cupping her cheek softly as she glared at Otter. Otter went pale white. No, my goddess. I shall be good. That's what I thought. Now, my precious little Naruto instantly stopped laughing. He did not want to be subjected to the same beating Otter had suffered moments ago. Would you like for me to update your Felna now or after your dungeon trip? Adopting a thinking pose, Naruto closed his eyes and mulled over his options. It baffled the three adults at how much Naruto looked like a fox while doing this, and by the heavens Freya wished she had something to immortalize it. After some time thinking, Naruto came to a decision. I wanna update my Felna now. It'll probably be super helpful for me when I go into the dungeon, don't you think? Of course it will, Naruto. And you can show it off to your sister when you meet up with them. Oh yeah, that too. She's gonna be super shocked when I show her how much I've grown stronger. Yufufufu, I'm sure she will. Now come here, I'll adjust your Felna. Naruto scampered over to Freya, taking his shirt off to expose his back while sitting in front of her. Freya held her hand out, and not a second later a needle appeared in her palm, courtesy of one overly prepared and curious Hedon. His curiosity came from the fact that his goddess and the boy ahead of him made it seem like his update would be special or something. Wouldn't he be in for a shock? Pricking her finger on the needle, she allowed her itcher to drop on the child's back and expose his Felna. It took some time for her to move the excelia accumulated into their appropriate stats, but when she finished she whistled. My, Naruto. You certainly have a penchant for surprising us. Once again holding her palm out, a paper appeared in its grasp. Again, it was thanks to the overly prepared Hedon who always had everything a goddess could ever need on hand. Why? No one knows. After copying Naruto's status onto the paper, she gave it to him for him to see. Hedon and Otter joined Naruto by looking over his shoulders. Status. Naruto Namikaze Wallenstein. Level 1. Strength. B 797 SS 1013. Endurance. C 689 SSS 1472. Dexterity. B 722 S 967. Agility. 888 SSS 1243. Magic. C 672 B 720. Magic. Shadow Clones. Allows the user to create one or more copies of themselves. The user's mana is evenly divided between themselves and their clones. Creating one clone will give it half the user's mana, creating two clones will give each a third of the user's mana and so on. Depending on how much mana the user has and how many clones they make, this rapid depletion of their reserves can be dangerous. Clones can also utilize the magic technique Shadow Clones. Erdtree's Protection. Grants greater durability to those casted for a determined amount of time. A minute of time for each drop of mana put to use. The more people this is casted on the more mana used. One person is 1 mana point per minute, 2 people are 2 mana points per minute, 3 people are 3 mana points per minute, and so on. Fireball. Hurls a ball of flames. The greater the size the more mana utilized. Enchanted with death due to the skill Godslayer's Black Flame, but only if the user wishes. Skills. Will of Fire. The stronger the will of the wielder, the greater boost in stats will occur. In times of trouble, when all else would fail, a single strike will turn the tides. Slaughter Demon. Monstrously increases attack power for every kill the user makes. Permanently increases stats by 1 for every 3 kills. Kyuubi no Yoko. The greatest spirit that descended from the gods. Provides passive greater regeneration, heightened senses, greater durability, and extreme magic capacity to user. When cloaked in the Kyuubi's energy, each effect granted is quintuples in its power, at the expense of being filled with hate. Can be stacked up to 9 times, counted by the number of tails present in the cloak. Each time a tail is added to the cloak, the user will be exposed to more hatred from the Kyuubi. Should the user fall into rage and hatred, they will fall into a berserker state. Berserker status effect shall last until either the target of the user's hatred is dead, the Kyuubi takes over, or the user is knocked unconscious. If the user can conquer the full hatred of the Kyuubi, the skill cloaks the user in gold and increases effects, combat ability and attack power to the maximum. Can only be used by those with spirit blood. Anitus Otter. Destined love of the goddess Freya. Grants immunity to all charms of every strength and grants greater Excelia count to the power, endurance, agility, and magic. Combat ability permanently and higher battle IQ is increased alongside it due to Freya also being the goddess of war. Lyris Freeze. Fast growth as long as the user is in love. The strength of the effects corresponds with the level of the user's feelings. As a side effect it makes the user immune to charms. Inactive. Great Sage. Favored by nature and Excelia, extreme growth is inevitable. Increases Excelia count gathered and increases power when actively gathering energy from the surrounding atmosphere. Can only be used by those in tune with the spirits or possess spirit blood. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Godslayer's Black Flames. The flames enchanted by death, capable of burning even divinity itself. Grants all fire spells the enchantment of death, slowly burning through the life and divinity of all that it touches. Can only be put out through spirit magic or the user's will. Effect increases based on user's hate. Balance Breaker. Normal doesn't apply. Limits typically found on the Falna are non-existent. Allows user to possess an infinite number of magics to be used and eliminates the cap of stats that others are bound by. Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Sage of Six Paths. Increases the user's level by 1, keeping all the stats they possess in their level before the increase. Example being a high level 5 going into a high level 6. Mark of the Sun. Gives user the ability to manipulate all physical matter, ranging from complete annihilation to absolute restoration of a person or object. Can be used to heal others. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the moon, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Truth Seeker Orb. Grants 6 orbs of nothingness that erase anything it comes in contact with, the exception being the user, those the user chooses not to harm, or those with high enough overall resistance. Development ability. Status. What the hell? The three guys yelled, shocked out of their minds at the stat increase Naruto gained. AWWWW, yeah. Take that, bozos. Naruto Uzumaki rules. How is this possible? There has been no person to have ever broken the 999 stat limit. And what the hell are those skills? You never cease to surprise me, boy. Congratulations. Thanks, guess getting beaten to bloody hell by you was worth it after all. Freya smiled at the chattering of her children in front of her, happy that they seemed to be bonding so well. Not very often could she be granted a sight remotely similar to this with her other children, but she hoped that Naruto's eventual inclusion to them would change that. There was merit to that desire. Already she could tell that Hedon succumbed to the charms of the blonde anomaly, something that would normally be impossible to achieve. Alrighty then, Freya said, clapping her hands together to get the three boys' attention. Why don't we all go get cleaned up? You have a big day today. Otter spoke up. Not only that, but we must get Naruto some gear for him to equip himself with. It would do him no good going into the dungeon without any weapon or protection. Indeed. What time are you supposed to be meeting up with your sister, Naruto? At noon, Miss Freya. Then let us take this time to find you some armor and weapons for you to use, shall we? Indeed. Allow me to take care of that, my lady. Of course. Otter, be a dear and inform Hogni to meet them at the front gate. Right away, goddess. With all that said and done, the group of four split off to their own direction. Naruto groaned for the umpteenth time ever since arriving at the entrance. 10 minutes had gone by since he and Hedon arrived, and they were still waiting on this mysterious Hogni character. Boy, Hedon. What's taking your friend so long to get here? Hedon looked up from his book, giving Naruto a stink eye. I don't know why that buffoon is taking so long to get here. It's not any of my concern. And my name is Hedon, not Hedon. Whatever you say, Shedon. I'm getting bored waiting for this guy, can't we just ditch him already? No, we can't. And again, my name is Hedon. Ugh. You suck, Smeagol. How'd you get to that, you brat? Their banter was interrupted by the sound of laughter. Ho ho, it seems you are the special boyo who I was instructed to watch over by my illustrious goddess. A dark-skinned man said as he appeared in between the two. The name is Hogni, the super-duper mega awesome burning fighting fighter of the Freya Familia. He faced Naruto and bowed. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Silence permeated the area. He was dropped on his head. Naruto thought. I frickin' know he was dropped on his head. Hogni, do not attempt to corrupt the boy with your foolishness. Hedon sighed, irritated at his rival's antics already. We have orders given to us by Lady Freya and we must complete them post-haste. Oh, my eternal rival. Must you always flaunt your cool hip attitude? I'm gonna stop you right there, bucko. You are not finishing that sentence. Naruto couldn't describe the feeling that coursed through him, but he knew that if he allowed the Dane's leaf to finish his thought he would forever regret it. Hogni looked surprised at the interruption but didn't allow that to deter him. Very well, my boy. Allow I, the greatest fighter to have ever lived, to escort you to your destinations. A deadpan was all the dark elf would receive, a reaction that was shared by the red-eyed elf behind him. Hedin regained his bearings. Enough of your foolishness, Hogni. We are to take the boy to the blacksmith's and get him fitted for his time in the dungeon. Aye, very well. Allow us to be off, my good fellows. Without further ado, the trio walked off towards Babel. Nothing worth their time came up during their walk, but they still gathered attention from everyone they passed. To the crowd, seeing the Hildra's leaf and Dane's leaf walk together with a random boy was the most interesting thing to have happened that day. After all, their rivalry was legendarily known throughout Aurario, and the fact that they seemed to be putting it aside for the blonde kid between them was extraordinary. None of them paid any attention to the crowd as they made their way to Hephaestus's workshop. It didn't matter to them in the slightest. When they reached the 4th floor of the tower, Naruto's eyes sparkled. They sparkled so bright they could be mistaken for diamonds as they gazed upon all the weapons lined against the wall. So cool. Naruto said, running up to the display cases and pressing himself on the glass. These weapons look so cool. The two elves chuckled to themselves, enjoying the show of Naruto frolicking around the weapons store. Their hearts warmed at how much the child was acting his age and not like a weapon being trained for war and glory. He wasn't, but that was the impression the two elves had of him. Hogni was made aware of Naruto's circumstance and potential. It was why he had arrived so late to their meeting spot, being as shocked as he was. He didn't let that bother him, though, and sauntered up to ruffle the whiskered boy's fluffy head. Indeed they are, my youthful friend. Are you ready to go inside and experience the majesty of all these weapons? Naruto grasped at Hogni's cloak with fervor as he jumped up and down. Yeah. Let's go, let's go, let's go. No more time was wasted as Hogni pushed the doors open, allowing Naruto the view of rows upon rows of armor sets and weapons lined up for their viewing and purchasing pleasure. Now, Naruto. Choosing a weapon to use is incredibly important for beginners. It will shape their path as an adventurer and their profession when adventuring. Hedin stated, getting Naruto's full attention. Look around and see if there is anything you find that attracts you to it. The same thing goes for armor. Make sure it can fit your fighting style and weight preference. Hogni and I will assist you whenever you need it. Okay, thanks Mr. Hediner. You brat. PFT, Hediner. Shut it, you buffoon. I will not hear nonsense from you two. As the two elves began to bicker with each other, Naruto explored the shop, looking at each weapon he came across with wonder and excitement. They all look so cool. I really wanna know how to use these things, but I ain't feeling that attractingy, Mr. Hedin said. Naruto spent his time analyzing the weapons he came across, from swords, spears and axes, to bows, staffs and catalysts. Nothing seemed to be clicking for him with each weapon he passed, and it was beginning to dishearten him. It looks like you're having a problem. Mind if I help? A girl asked behind him. Naruto turned around to face her, excitement filling him as he did so. The girl looked to be slightly older than him, having tan skin covered in soot. Her black hair was done in a ponytail, allowing him full view of her grinning face with brownish red eyes staring at him with mirth. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I need a ton of help finding some weapons and armor to use for the dungeon. I see, what you looking for. I really like swords, but none of these. Do you know what type of sword you want? Yeah. I'm like, super fast and agile, so I want a sword that's thinner than normal and can really slice things. I gotcha, I think I got just the thing. The girl turned around and walked away, beckoning Naruto to follow her. Rows of weapons were passed as they walked through the shop to their destination. Here we are, the girl said as they arrived at the back of the store. There was a box in front of them. I think I got what you'd want in here. Naruto looked at the box curiously, tilting his head to the side as an emphasis. The sword I want is in this box. Definitely. The girl rummaged through the box and pulled out a sword, thin in its shape but looked undoubtedly sharp. A chikudo. Naruto reached his hand out to grab the hilt of the chikudo, finding its grip and weight to be satisfactory to him. It does feel like something I'd want to use. It feels a lot better in my hands than the other weapons, like it was made for me. After practicing with it for a few seconds, Naruto looked at the proud-looking girl. This is definitely the sword I want, thanks a bunch. It's no biggie. That chikudo was personally forged by yours truly, after all. The girl stated proudly, puffing her chest up in her justified pride. It's totally awesome. I know, an idea came to the girl. Hey, I know, how about you and I make a contract? The contract? Yeah, a contract. I'll be your personal blacksmith and make everything you need for a discount, and in exchange you only come to me for weapons and armor and bring me materials to use. Naruto adopted his thinking stance yet again, closing his eyes to help concentrate on his thoughts. He looks so cute. Like a fox. I accept this contract, lady. Naruto exclaimed, pointing at the girl with happiness. Can't wait to get to work with ya. She pumped her fist in victory. Yeah, can't wait. My name's Tsubaki. Tsubaki Kalbrand. I'm a level 2 for the Hephaestus Familia. The now identified Tsubaki proclaimed, sticking her hand out to meet the boy for a handshake. Nice, I'm Naruto Uzumaki of the Freya Familia. Level 1. He grasped her hand and shook it, solidifying their agreement. Tsubaki's mouth opened in surprise at her new client's information. You're in the Freya Familia. They're like the strongest familia here. Yeah, I'm super strong, you know. Even if I'm level 1, I can probably whoop any level 2s or 3s butts. A nod of the head was her answer to that, her shock dying down to focus on a more important matter. Alright, now we need to get you some armor, come on, follow me. Neither of them noticed Hogni and Hedon spying on them as they made their way through the store. They hid their presence to the best of their abilities while they were spying on them, like their charge was on a date and they were making sure that it ran smoothly behind the scenes. After picking out some light armor, which consisted of a chestplate, spiked gauntlets on the knuckles and fingers, shoulder guards, and boots, Naruto looked ready for the dungeon. Placing his sheath on his back, he clicked his shakudo into its place. Now you look ready for the dungeon, my new client. Tsubaki said, taking in the sight of Naruto's gear fully made by her. Maybe you and I can go dungeoning together sometime. Naruto agreed with a nod, too busy inspecting his outfit to respond. Wearing his all-black outfit of armor and clothing made him look cool, and everything blended well together, but he felt like something was missing. Ah, I got it. He snapped, startling the girl. You got any masks, Tsubaki? Masks? Yeah, I think I do, they should be by the corner over there. Naruto looked to where Tsubaki pointed, finding the masks fairly quickly when he did. He walked up to the wall where the masks were, noticing the variety of masks and helmets there were. He ignored the helmets entirely, focusing on the masks. These things look pretty cool, I'll probably need something to protect my face, so I think Mr. Hedon would let me grab some. I think I should go with AHA. Naruto reached his hand out and grabbed the mask he wanted, tracing it over with his fingers. It was a black half mask that covered his face from the chin to the nose, shaped to look like the face of an Oni. This is totally the one I want. Maybe I should grab some others as well. He did just that, grabbing multiple copies of the half Oni mask he found. As he was about to walk back to the counter, his eyes caught a glimpse of another mask. He shifted his gaze to look at the item and he was caught in awe. The item was actually 2 daggers, 13 inches in length and 4 inches in width. The light of the store gleamed on them beautifully, as though they were weapons graced with the blessing of a god. One look at them and Naruto knew he wanted them. He quickly grabbed the daggers and its sheaths and made his way to the desk, placing his items in front of Tsubaki, who gained a look of surprise at the daggers. I'll take all of these. Naruto stated with resolve. He was determined to get everything he came for and didn't want any sort of complications. Sure. That'll come out to 102,794 valis. Hedon walked up behind Naruto and placed the money on the counter. After she counted the money and put it away, Tsubaki gave them a pleased grin. Thank you for your patronage. Please come again. I will, bye Tsubaki. With his business finished, Naruto headed out of the store with Hogni and Hedon, adjusting his new equipment to their proper spot. Pulling up the hood of his clothes, which now rested beneath his chest plate, he felt like he looked like the adventurer he wanted to be. Hey Mr. Hedon, Mr. Hogti, what did you think of my new look? Naruto asked, curious about his supervisor and possibly new friend's opinion on his new outfit. Hedon stifled a snicker at Naruto butchering his rival's name, a sentiment that Hogni did not appreciate. I think you look good, Naruto. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were a professional veteran at dungeon diving. Hogni agreed, his tick mark slowly abating. Yes indeed, my good fellow. You look simply astounding. And do not forget, my name is Hogni. Not Hogti. Thanks Mr. Hogs P. Ahahahaha. You brat. Hedon laughed uproariously at Hogni, enjoying the look of anger and frustration that he wore. That's what you get for being a fool. Hedon recovered his composure a short time later, clearing his throat to calm himself down. Anyways, he started. I believe it is time for me to return to Folkvangr. Hogni, you remember your orders, do you not? Don't order me around, Hedon. I know full well of our goddess's orders and you may rest assured that I shall complete them with utmost perfection. Good, then if that is all, I shall be off. Before Hedon could leave, Naruto grabbed his cloak. He shifted his head to look at Naruto, but found a bundle of masks fill his vision instead. Can you take this to my room, Mr. Hedon? Miss Freya and the old geezer knows where it is if you don't. Naruto asked, tilting his head to the side with wide eyes glimmering with light and joy. Erg. Cuteness struck Hedon in the heart, piercing through every defense he possessed in his arsenal as he staggered and fell to his hands and knees. How can he be so cute? Little did he know that Hogni was attacked with the very same predicament he faced, though the effect was lesser due to it not being targeted at the Dark Elf himself. Very well, he coughed, standing up to his feet in order to try and regain his dignity. He grabbed the bundle from Naruto's hands and adjusted his glasses. I'll bring them with me to Folklinger. You don't need to worry, they'll be in your room upon your return. Naruto smiled widely, his baby blue eyes shining brighter than ever before, widening as far as they could to give them the perfect shape of a circle. Really? Thank you so much, Mr. Hedon. Erg. Once again, cuteness attacked the Hyldra's leaf like a nuke, tossing him back with blood spurting from his mouth. This time, he was joined by Hogni. Why, you're welcome, Naruto. Oh goddess, he's too cute. It should be illegal for someone to be that cute. Goddess Freya, what did we do for you to bless our familia with such an adorable child? On that day, Hedon and Hogni would discover their fascination and fatherly instincts for Naruto. They vowed to terminate anything that would do Naruto wrong, unintentionally vowing the same thing. I must protect this child at all costs. Naruto remained unaware of their thoughts, laughing joyously at their reactions he unknowingly caused. After they recovered from their cuteness overload, Hedon made his way to Folklinger. Not long after he left, another group came to greet them. It was Aiz and an elf. Aiz sprinted up to Naruto as fast as she could, throwing herself into his arms with a laugh. Big brother, I missed you. Naruto laughed alongside his sister, scooping her up in a hug and twirled her around. I missed you too, Aiz. You excited for the dungeon trip today? Yeah. It's my first time going into the dungeon, so I'm super duper excited. As the two siblings caught up with each other, Hogni walked towards the elf accompanying Aiz. I didn't expect you to be monitoring her, nine hell. The elf gazed at the dark elf coldly. I didn't expect you to be monitoring the boy either, Dane's Leaf. A surprise to be sure. Indeed, a most unexpected surprise indeed. Hogni allowed his voice to trail off as he looked at the two kids talking, smiling softly as he did so. The elf beside him had the same reaction, smiling softly as her eyes grew warmer. Though, it seems to me like you have warmed up to the girl rather quickly. Reveria nodded. Yes, I have taken her in as my adoptive daughter. She used to be so full of hatred and darkness, you see. It makes me happy to see that darkness inside her gone, even if it's just for the moment. I understand you full well. Hogni's words brought him Reveria's attention. Naruto is the same way. My captain told me of the black flame that lurks within him, even Goddess Freya sees it. It's a dangerous thing, that black flame of theirs, it's unlike anything I've ever heard of before. Yes. Aiz used to be so singularly focused on killing monsters and getting stronger. You wouldn't believe the look in her eyes during the time that flame ran rampant. She looked more insane than anything I had ever seen. Glad to see that she's recovered. Though a frown marred Hogni's face. It makes me worried for Naruto. If that flame takes over him like it had Aiz, I fear the consequences it could bring. Reveria looked confused. What do you mean? I don't see how it could be any different from Aiz's time. Hogni shook his head. You don't understand. Naruto is far more powerful than any of us think, and his potential is limitless. If he gets consumed by that hatred of his, I fear Arario may come to great turmoil beyond anything we've ever known. There was no reply to his answer. Reveria stood there shocked as her head absorbed the information given to her. But that's impossible, isn't it? How could the boy possibly pose such a danger to us? Reaching into his cloak, he pulled out Naruto's status sheet. He handed it to Reveria. This is why. As she looked over the status page, Reveria grew more and more horrified. She had seen the paper yesterday, but now she truly understood why Loki reacted the way she did yesterday. Her horrified eyes turned towards Naruto with fear. It's terrifying, isn't it? Hogni said. That a single boy could break the limit of the fauna and grow as quickly as he can. I can predict fairly easily the fate of Arario if he loses himself to hate, especially with that Kyuubi no Yoko skill. He's a demon. Reveria couldn't help but say her thoughts out loud. The fear in her demanded nothing less than her verbalizing the truth. There's no way that type of growth is any form of natural, even with his growth skills. Hogni looked angry at Reveria's words, but he couldn't disclaim or get mad at her. It was what he thought when he first looked at the status page, after all. Well, I'm angry at your words, I cannot refute them. Naruto is most certainly a monster in terms of capabilities, but he is also a child with an untold amount of happiness. If we can prevent that black flame from developing inside him, then there would be nothing for us to fear. I sup. Boy, Mr. Hogni, Granny Long Ears, let's get going already. I want to go into the dungeon right now. Naruto interrupted the two from their conversation, waving at them with Ace at his side. When they looked at him, Reveria with a murderous glare, he grinned and began his walk to the guild. Let's go register as adventurers. Wait up, big brother. Ace called out as she caught up to him. Seeing as their conversation was cut short, the two elves followed the kids into the guild, blinking when they found that the siblings were already at the front desk. It didn't take long to register them into the guild, only a few minutes. After all the paperwork was done, they were given the clear to go into the dungeon. You two ready? We won't be interfering with how far down you two go for your first dungeon dive, but we will if it becomes too much for you. Reveria said. Naruto hummed an affirmation. Yeah, we're ready. Get ready to be amazed. With that, they took their first steps into the dungeon. As they walked through the dungeon, Naruto and Ace looked around with wonder. Excitement filled their veins the deeper they went into the floor. Finally, they came across their first monster. Beak. It was a goblin, grinning nastily at the two kids. Jeeg. The goblin rushed at them, nails poised to kill them. Naruto's eyes went arctic cold, grabbing the hilt of his Chikudo and rushed at the goblin. The goblin didn't last a second, losing its head the moment it engaged Naruto and disintegrated to dust, leaving a magic stone for them to collect. He didn't bother with the stone, spotting more monsters and rushed towards them, leaving the stone for Hogni to pick up with a sigh. Ace, not wanting to be left behind, joined her brother in rushing the monsters, the two of them working in tandem to slay the monsters. When the last monsters died, Naruto sighed and turned towards Ace. Hey Ace, how about we do a competition? Ace tilted her head to the side, silently asking Naruto to continue with his line of thought. Let's see how many floors we can go down on our own and how many monsters we can kill before having to go back up. The one with the most kills and went the deepest floor gets something from the winner. Eh? But why, big brother? Weren't we supposed to dungeon together? You're right. Alright, new bet. Whoever kills more monsters by the time we finish gets some food from the other. Deal. Ace and Naruto turned and walked further into the dungeon, obliterating monsters left and right as they descended further. It wasn't until the 10th floor that they got their first challenge. Taking his blade out of the dead orc's head, Naruto turned his sights to the fog. He had sensed a giant creature lurking there, and his thoughts came true when he discovered what it was. A baby dragon. On this floor. Hogni said in bewilderment at the sight of the creature. They shouldn't be spotted until the 13th floor. Doesn't matter what it is, Naruto grinned fiercely behind his mask. I'm gonna kill it. Naruto dashed towards the dragon, his bloodlust warning it of the impending danger it was about to face. It roared at Naruto, stomping his way to the blonde. Naruto dashed to the side to escape being flattened by the large legs of the beast and swung his sword at the limb, causing sparks to fly from the contact. TCH. Naruto retreated away from the dragon and held his hand up, glowing gold as he prepared his spell. Erdtree protection. He intoned, slamming the glowing hand to his chest and sprinted back to the dragon. The dragon roared again, throwing its head back and breathed fire onto Naruto, who tanked through the flames and jumped. It was only thanks to his spell that he was able to survive that, but he didn't let the thought bother him. He threw a kick to the dragon's side, knocking it off balance long enough for him to land on the ground and engage again, this time with more power and strength. A roar of pain escaped the dragon as its side caved in itself, crushed beneath the strength of Naruto's leg. That's right, you filthy animal. Naruto growled menacingly, jumping back to assess the monster's condition. You're gonna die just like the rest of your kind. Uncharacteristically dark words for an 8-year-old child to say, but it is what it is. The dragon righted itself to face Naruto's direction, rage evident on its collie face. It stomped on the ground, causing fissures to occur and limiting Naruto's attack route. The boy just grinned his feral grin. You're smart, ain't ya? Makes it all the better when your head rolls. He dashed to the dragon again, using the broken terrain to camouflage and enhance his movements. The dragon's tactic backfired on it as it quickly lost sight of the boy, inducing panic to it. It didn't know what hit it as it felt a blow to its injured side, followed by another kick to its stomach and another on its back. The dragon's pain-filled roar reverberated throughout the floor as its injuries increased. It swirled around, flinging its body in an attempt to rid itself of its attackers, only to be confused as smoke clouded its vision. It didn't get a second's notice before the dragon's head was smashed from beneath it, sending its gaze to the sky. Even through its pain, the dazed dragon could make out something that horrified it. High in the sky, Naruto's hand was up, a black fireball the size of its head was charging in the boy's grasp. Everyone and everything there could feel a sense of danger unlike anything they felt before, like death itself was trapped within the flames of the boy. Naruto's grin was still in place as he threw the fireball at the dragon, intent on burning it out of existence. The dragon roared in pain as the flames connected, feeling its strength leave it as the flames devoured its life energy. It survived long enough for the flames to recede on its own, but its strength was weakened. Naruto brought his Shakudo in a downward swing, intent on cleaving the dragon's neck in two, but was only met with sparks again. Damn. Even if I weakened it, it doesn't change the fact that the scales are still naturally stronger than my Shakudo. Big brother behind you. Naruto whipped his head to the side just in time to see a tail slam into him, throwing him across the fields and slamming into the rocks behind them. Big brother Naruto. Everyone yelled concern for the boy, but their fears were for naught as Naruto stepped out of the debris, steam coming off his body as his wounds healed. I'm fine. Don't interfere. Naruto assured them, wiping the blood off his face as he focused on the recovering dragon, watching it slowly get back onto its feet. This is getting fun. The dragon huffed in, was that agreement? As it turned to Naruto again. The boy sprinted to the beast once more, dodging the blasts of fire sent his way. Reaching the base of the dragon, he jumped to meet the foot of the dragon in an earth-shattering punch, knocking them both in the opposite direction they were originally going. Naruto slammed into the ground but didn't linger as he was forced to dodge the airborne dragon landing where he had laid, rolling out the way and gaining distance. He didn't let that distance last, seeing as his opponent was still recovering from the rough landing, and dashed back in. Gotta make this count. Naruto jumped over the tail, swung by the dragon, and landed on its back just as it stood back up. He made his way to the neck, dancing around the tail that continuously attempted to flatten him on its back, and finally had enough. He leapt into the sky, just narrowly evading the tail again and floated. The clone appeared behind Naruto, grabbing him and sending him further into the sky where another caught him, redirecting his path to the giant monster again at speeds untold. Naruto's eyes turned red as he prepared his blade, channeling the Kyuubi through him in an attempt to finish the fight. Die. Naruto stabbed his Shakudo into the dragon's head, slamming it into the ground as the rest of the body disconnected. The sheer force of his landing had torn the infant dragon's head from the rest of its body, which disappeared in a blast of black dust. Agni, Reveria and Ace coughed the debris away, shielding their eyes as they tried to find Naruto in the dust. No sooner than they looked did the dust recede, allowing them the sight of a triumphant Naruto standing on the head of the now dead dragon, Shakudo visibly sheathed to the hilt in the skull. Big brother. Ace screamed, happy at her brother's triumph over the dragon. She ran to her brother, who had pulled his blade out of his opponent's head and swiped the air, cleaning it of the blood that dripped off it. Yo, looks like I won, you guys. Naruto said as he jumped off the head, putting his sword back into its sheath and catching his sister in a hug once again. Apparently she didn't mind being covered in blood. He didn't know that this feat of his would only solidify Ace's hero idolization of her brother and would be the first source of inspiration for her to get stronger, right next to killing the dragon that took their mother. Indeed it does, young Naruto. A great victory has been earned here. Hogni complimented, walking over to rub Naruto's bloody hood. The boy pouted but still smiled, overall happy with his accomplishment. The only person who hadn't left their spot was Reveria, who was still trying to accept what just happened in front of her. She didn't think the boy would be able to kill the dragon, but lo and behold she was proven wrong. It reminded her once again of the infinite potential Naruto possessed and his already immense strength that could rival or even surpass most level 2s. I was right, that boy truly is a monster. So? Naruto, Ace, do you guys want to continue deeper into the dungeon? Or do you two want to call it quits here? Ace and Naruto looked at each other, huddling together and whispering things Hogni couldn't make out. When they were finished, Naruto nodded. I think this is enough for today, Mr. Hogni. Granny over there looks like she needs her beauty sleep. I'm getting kind of tired too, Mr. Hogni. I want to go back up and go to sleep. Ace agreed. It's no wonder you two spent the entire afternoon killing monsters here. I believe it's around 9 o'clock up at the surface. Now come on, let's lug up that infant dragon head and give it to the guild. You'll be making a whole lot of money tonight. Awesome. Money as the best. Naruto rushed to the dragon head and gripped it, trying to lift it to no avail. Hogni walked over with a chuckle, easily lifting the head to rest on his shoulders as he walked back to the stairs. He deliberately ignored Naruto's pout. He did not want to get hit with the cuteness arrow Hedon had been hit with. Ace followed them, walking hand in hand with her brother as she rambled animatedly about his fight with the dragon, stars in her eyes with each word spoken. The high elf trailed behind them, alone as she mulled over how to prepare for the eventual calamity the boy would most certainly be. Odds know they might need it. Loki, that kid is going to kill me. Reveria whined, flopping on the couch across from the goddess. Loki, who was currently drinking her jug of soma wine, merely raised an eyebrow. What kid? You mean my sweet little Azipu? Loki asked, confused as to who the elf was talking about. No, her stupid brother. Loki's eyebrows shot up. Before today, she'd have never expected her vice captain to insult someone so childishly, let alone an 8-year-old kid. Ace, who was standing in front of the door, instantly took offense to that. Her eyebrows scrunched in anger. Don't call big brother stupid, you meanie. "She's sorry my sweet little Aizu, it's just that." Loki trailed off, chuckling nervously to herself as she tried to express the absurdity that was her brother. "Your brother is just too broken. Big brother isn't broken. I mean he's super overpowered." Ace nodded in agreement, slapping her fist to the open palm of her hand in understanding. "Ah, yeah, he's super strong. He's the coolest big brother ever." "That's certainly one way to put it." Loki gulped down the rest of her wine with gusto, slamming her mug on the table and standing up. "Alright my little Aizu, let's get your status updated, shall we?" Okay. Ace sat in front of the couch, raising her shirt enough to expose her back to the goddess. Loki grabbed the ritual blade and pricked her finger, allowing a drop of her itcher to drop onto the blonde girl's back, and began to work. When she was finished, she grabbed a paper and printed the stats onto it. "Looks like you had one heck of a time in the dungeon, you just look at those stats, boom." Loki handed Ace the paper, allowing her to see the upgrades to her status. Status. Ace Namek is Wallenstein. Level 1. Power. I-77 G201. Endurance. I-61 H199. Dexterity. H132 G213. Agility. H125 G224. Magic. I-80 H178. Magic. Aerial. Enchant type magic that can imbue things with wind. It has been mentioned as being far beyond normal enchant type magic. Short incant. Tempest. Vernier. A supportive spell that, by chanting out an incantation, allows the user to temporarily enhance the target's movement speed by surrounding them with magical auras. When cast, the target and/or user is able to hover around at their own discretion within said magical aura. It can be employed upon multiple allies and also on the caster themselves. This spell can also be cast alongside both arms and armor. Short incant. Vernier. Arms and/or armor. Skills. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Storm Empress. Increases the potency and effects of all wind-related magic the user utilizes. Curse of Hatred. Increases growth of the user the more hatred they hold in their heart. Increases attacking power exponentially when in combat. Effects rises based on the user's hate. Vergon Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Mark of the Moon. Allows user to manipulate all magical and spiritual matters. Passively gives user increased finesse and mobility when in combat. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the sun, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Spirit Princess. The princess of the spirits, daughter of the queen. Increases all magic abilities and mana the user possesses. Can only be used by those who possess the blood of the spirit queen. Status. Woo-wah. Ace murmured, shocked at how much she grew stronger. She hadn't ever grown as quickly as she had when she was training above the dungeon. Is this the power I can get by killing dungeon monsters? How do you get a new magic spell, Ace? Reveria asked. I don't remember anyone giving you a grimoire. I made it. How? I concentrated aerial to my body for armor instead of speed. How did you? Anyways, Reveria. Loki interrupted. What is it about Naruhina that's got you so worked up? He's not that bad, is he? Reveria shook her head, collecting herself and sitting upright on the sofa. Nothing like that, in fact I'd say it's the opposite. Oh? Naruto, that boy, I believe I understand now the truly calamitous potential that he has. A faraway look overcame Reveria's face as her mind wandered into the realm of possibilities. Loki, who had never seen such a look on her vice captain's face before, was getting worried at what the elf was insinuating. Reveria continued. Naruto is a true calamitous talent, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Not even Alphia was this disastrous in terms of potential. His supervisor, Hogni, gave me his status sheet to warn you of a possibility of him becoming an impending danger in the future. Big Brother's status sheet is dangerous. No, it's the potential that his status sheet is foreshadowing for us if what I'm understanding is correct. Reveria, give me the status sheet. Reveria pulled out the status sheet from her cloak and handed it over to the goddess, who lounged back and read over the contents. With each second that passed, the two other occupants of the room could see her eyes open and grow increasingly more worried. A shaky breath came from Loki as she set the paper down. She looked stressed, folding her hands together and leaned forward to rest her head on it. Reveria gazed worriedly at Loki, tilting her frame to try and read Loki's expression. Loki. Loki's hardened eyes pierced through Reveria and Ace like a bullet. Gather the executives, we need to plan. Ace's worry skyrocketed. Plan? For what? This Loki. Naruto, I missed you, Freya shouted, leaping at Naruto and burying him in a bear hug. Oh my little whittle Naruto, I missed you so much. Boy, get your filthy mitts off me, you freaky lady. Naruto screamed, trying to fight off the death grip Freya had around him. No matter how much he tried, however, he just couldn't break out of it. How? Isn't a god supposed to be just as strong as a normal person? How is she so strong? Freya kept him close, rubbing her cheek on his and marveling at the softness of them. No matter how many times she felt them, it felt like the whiskered blonde skin would just stay forever smooth. It had been 3 weeks since his excursion into the dungeon, and he had only grown stronger. He hadn't gone into the dungeon again, taking his time to refine his techniques with his weapons and his magic under the guidance of Hogni and Hedon. During this time, he hadn't visited Freya once. The boy took his training seriously, allowing no distractions to impede his progress to strength and power, a sentiment both Hogni and Hedon respected. Freya had been pouty at first, but finally relented under the promise to let her pet his whiskers. What she was doing right now, gushing at the purring noises that came out of Naruto's vocal cords. It quickly became a favorite pastime of hers to enjoy. How was your training, Naruto? Did you get any better with your weapons? Freya asked. Naruto squinted his eyes, quiet purring noises still being made from the light petting of the goddess's hand. Yeah, the emo elf said that I'm at a level where level 2s wouldn't be able to stand a chance against me and that I could probably beat a couple level 3s. At least, in my base form. I think I could beat every level 3 out there and maybe fight some level 4s if I go all out. Impressive. It looks like this training session was incredibly good for you. Do you want me to fix your stats right now? Yes please. Freya nodded, rising up to her feet. Follow me then, we'll go to your room for the upgrade. Okay. Naruto followed Freya, walking towards his room as discreetly as he could. Freya had told him that he was supposed to be a secret right now, something that made him feel cool, like a ninja, and he didn't want to jeopardize his position as the familiar secret. Otter met them halfway, quickly taking his position behind Freya and shielding Naruto from any prying eyes. It was lucky that he did so, because from that point on familiar members roamed around. Phew, that was close. If I had walked behind Miss Freya any longer I would have been discovered. Naruto thought in relief. More familiar members passed by them, unaware of Naruto's hidden form between Otter and Freya, until finally they made it to his room. Freya unlocked the room, allowing Naruto and Otter in. I'm going to go get the ritual needle, okay? Okay. Naruto called out, flashing her a thumbs up as she made her way out the door, leaving Otter and Naruto in the room alone. What will you do now? Otter asked in a gruff tone. Probably go to the dungeon tomorrow. I need to raise my stats as high as they can go. I haven't really used my slaughter demon skill as much as I've wanted to, so I'll do this to fix that. I'd imagine you would, will you be needing a supervisor again? Oh no. I'm planning on going as deep as I can, so having someone pick up the crystals and get me out of a pinch sounds good. You think Hogni would be okay with doing that? I'll do it. I want to see your progress for myself. Oh really? Thanks. Think nothing of it. I expect you to be able to reach floor 16 on this trip. The skills you're boasting about and your new stats update leaves me with high expectations. Heh, I got you a big lug, I heard there was a monster Rex on floor 17. That true? Yes. Otter nodded. There is a monster Rex on floor 17 called the Goliath. Why do you wish to know? I want to try killing it on my own. Otter blinked. If there were ever a response to that question, hearing that from a level 1 was way off the radar. Do you want to kill it? Alone? Yeah, I need some grand feat to level up, right? I'm gonna kill every monster on my way down to floor 18, then go all out on that Goliath. That should be enough, shouldn't it? It would most certainly, but how would you be able to kill it? You're only level 1, even though you currently have the stats of a level 2, this isn't anywhere near your range of capabilities. I want to use all of my skills. I haven't used my Sage of 6 Paths, Truth Seeker Orbs, Great Sage's active use effect, or my limit with the Kyuubi no Yoko skill. I can use up to 1 tail now, so I want to see if I can kill it going all out. Using all of that should put me at a high level 3 or a mid level 4, no. Otter calculated for a moment before nodding. Yes it should, and adding your Mark of the Sun and your magics would surely help too. Freya opened the door, walking into the room with a needle and paper, prompting Naruto and Otter to become silent. Naruto, already knowing what to do, took off his equipment and shirt before laying down on his stomach. Once more, a glow appeared on his back as the goddess's Itcher unlocked his fauna, feeling the excelia he had accumulated throughout his training. The warmth on his back flowed through his body, strength filling him like the sun to a plant as Freya finished with his update. Status. Naruto Namikaze Wallenstein. Level 1. Strength. SS 1013 SSS 1350. Endurance. SSS 1472x 1600. Dexterity. S967x 1503. Agility. SSS 1243x 1639. Magic. B720s 904. Magic. Shadow clones. Allows the user to create one or more copies of themselves. The user's mana is evenly divided between themselves and their clones. Creating one clone will give it half the user's mana, creating two clones will give each a third of the user's mana, and so on. Depending on how much mana the user has and how many clones they make, this rapid depletion of their reserves can be dangerous. Clones can also utilize the magic technique shadow clones. Dispelling the clones transfers its knowledge and experience to the original. Excelia gathered by the clones do not count towards transfer. Erdtree's protection. Grants greater durability to those casted for a determined amount of time. A minute of time for each drop of mind put to use. The more people this is casted on, the more mind used. One person is 1 mind per minute, 2 people are 2 mind per minute, 3 people are 3 mind per minute, and so on. Fireball. Hurls a ball of flames. The greater the size, the more mana utilized. Enchanted with death due to the skill Godslayer's Black Flame, but only if the user wishes. Skills. Will of Fire. The stronger the will of the wielder, the greater boost in stats will occur. In times of trouble, when all else would fail, a single strike will turn the tides. Dual Wield. Raises attack power when wielding 2 weapons. Slaughter Demon. Monstrously increases attack power for every kill the user makes. Permanently increases stats by 1 for every 3 kills. Kyuubi no Yoko. The greatest spirit that descended from the gods. Provides passive greater regeneration, heightened senses, greater durability, and extreme magic capacity to user. When cloaked in the Kyuubi's energy, each effect granted is quintuples in its power, at the expense of being filled with hate. Can be stacked up to 9 times, counted by the number of tails present in the cloak. Each time a tail is added to the cloak, the user will be exposed to more hatred from the Kyuubi. Should the user fall into rage and hatred, they will fall into a berserker state. Berserker status effect shall last until either the target of the user's hatred is dead, the Kyuubi takes over, or the user is knocked unconscious. If the user can conquer the full hatred of the Kyuubi, the skill cloaks the user in gold and increases effects, combat ability and attack power to the maximum. Can only be used by those with spirit blood. Anitus Otter. Destined love of the goddess Freya. Grants immunity to all charms of every strength and grants greater Excelia count to the power, endurance, agility, and magic. Combat ability permanently and higher battle IQ is increased alongside it due to Freya also being the goddess of war. Lyris Freeze. Fast growth as long as the user is in love. The strength of the effects corresponds with the level of the user's feelings. As a side effect, it makes the user immune to charms. Inactive. Great Sage. Favored by nature and Excelia, extreme growth is inevitable. Increases Excelia count gathered passively. Increases power when actively gathering energy from the surrounding atmosphere. Can only be used by those in tune with the spirits or possess spirit blood. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Godslayer's Black Flames. The flames enchanted by death, capable of burning even divinity itself. Grants all fire spells the enchantment of death, slowly burning through the life and divinity of all that it touches. Can only be put out through spirit magic or the user's will. Effect increases based on user's hate. Balance Breaker. Normal doesn't apply. Limits typically found on the Falna are non-existent. Allows user to possess an infinite number of magics to be used and eliminates the cap of stats that others are bound by. Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Sage of 6 Paths. Increases the user's level by 1, keeping all the stats they possess in their level before the increase. Example being a high level 5 going into a high level 6. Mark of the Sun. Gives user the ability to manipulate all physical matter, ranging from complete annihilation to absolute restoration of a person or object. Can be used to heal others. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the moon, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Truth Seeker Orb. Grants 6 orbs of nothingness that erase anything it comes in contact with, the exception being the user, those the user chooses not to harm, or those with high enough overall resistance. Development ability. Status. You know, I feel like these types of stats are going to become the norm for me. Naruto chuckled, his hand rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Indeed. It appears you gained a new skill and an evolution to your shadow clones as well. Otter said, pride leaking from his voice. Your potential is as astounding as always. Freya nodded happily between them. It makes me happy that you're growing at such an astronomical rate. Anyways, Miss Freya. I'm going into the dungeon tomorrow. Do you think I can take Otter with me and get some new stuff? Absolutely, but why do you need new stuff? It doesn't look like your stuff is broken already. Oh, he wants to fight Goliath. What? Freya stood over the two menacingly, a dark aura forming around her as she glared daggers at Naruto. It was unfortunate for the blonde boy, considering he was much less experienced and accustomed to Freya's anger than Otter, who just weathered it like a champ. Naruto shriveled under the intense gaze of his goddess. I want to level up, Issy. No, I do not. What makes you think fighting Goliath is a good way to level up? He's a level 4 monster Rex. You're a level 1 with the stats of a level 2. What makes you think you're going to have any shot at a monster Rex? Naruto nearly crumbled under the weight of Freya's lividness, not even able to make a response to her question. Luckily, Otter spoke up from beside him. I will be supervising him, my lady. If it is too much for him, I shall get him to safety. You too, Otter. Yes. With the way Naruto is growing, nothing short of defeating a nigh impossible foe would be sufficient for him. Goliath is that foe that Naruto must beat right now, and I believe he will succeed. And tell me how he's going to succeed, Otter. Because from where I'm standing, he has no chance. Normally you would be correct, however you aren't taking into account the entirety of his skill repertoire. He has his Sage of 6 Path skill, which boosts his level up by 1 when it is in use. His Great Sage skill, which increases his power and stats when he draws in natural energy. Kyuubi no Yoko is a perfect skill that boosts all of his base stats and grants him greater regeneration. Not only that, he says he's able to control up to a tail in this form, which doubles his skill's base effects. And don't forget his Mark of the Sun and Truth Seeker orbs, some of the most powerful skills I have ever seen in my entire life. The ability to erase anything and the ability to manipulate physical matter are no joke. His Truth Seeker orbs may not be able to affect Goliath at the current moment, but it will most certainly be effective. I believe with all these skills and Naruto's overall combat capability will allow him to triumph over Goliath. Freya stood silent, her face shadowed by her hair and her aura still leaking. Neither Naruto nor Otter could tell if his words got through to the goddess or not. Tense silence lingered around them, choking them with its phantom hands. Finally, Freya sighed. Very well. I'll allow you to go. Yada. But don't you even dare think this is over, okay? I expect you to be very well behaved when you get back and do everything I say to the T. And if you die I swear I will go back to heaven and scold you for the rest of your afterlife, you got it? Freya's tone brokered no arguments, forcing Naruto to nod in agreement. He already got what he wanted, no need to jeopardize it. It's noon right now, so you should get going to Hephaestus's workshop and get better equipment. I'll cover the expenses for you, so don't worry too much about the prices. Yes ma'am. I'll get going right away. Hey, don't call me, it was too late, a dust trail replaced Naruto's form as the boy sprinted out of the room. Well, he's excited. Otter walked to Freya's side with a chuckle rumbling in his throat. Do you want me to accompany him, goddess? The love goddess pinched the bridge of her nose. Please do. You seem stressed. I can't help it, Naruto is worrying me sick with this new idea he has. Honestly, fighting the Goliath. Where'd he get this idea? That may have been my fault. But don't worry, no harm will befall Naruto while I'm there. Make sure it doesn't. Freya turned her frigid gaze at Otter, her eyes glowing violet with her power as she released part of her arcanum. Because if he does die in there, I will ruin this world before I'm sent back to Tenkai. A tense atmosphere blanketed the room at Freya's declaration. Otter could hardly breathe thanks to the words that graced his ears. But just before the tension became too overbearing, a mop of blonde peeked through the door. Can you guys tell me the way to the forge again? I kinda forgot. I still can't get over how cool this place looks. Naruto mumbled to himself as he traversed the floor filled with weapons and stores. You will eventually, it is only a matter of time. Otter's voice rumbled behind him. But that is beside the point. I highly doubt that your blacksmith Tsubaki will be capable of forging weapons strong enough to kill Goliath, so I shall take you to my personal blacksmith instead. Whoa, for real? AWESOME. Think nothing of it, you'll provide me compensation in the form of more training. Gotcha. Naruto and Otter traversed the halls of the 8th floor, which housed the greatest blacksmiths found in Arario, on their way to visit Otter's weaponsmith. Having experienced firsthand the damage the warlord's weapon could do, Naruto knew that the weapon he would receive would be just as awesome. The duo stopped at the end of the hall, confronted with a giant door that stood in front of them. Otter didn't bother knocking on it, opening the door and walking in. Naruto quickly followed. It was hot inside the room, nearly unbearable for the 8-year-old boy. The sounds of a hammer striking metal could be heard at the end of the room, the light flickering and brightening with each strike. An ominous aura seeped to where the two were standing, threatening to envelop Naruto's entire being and strangle him to death. Whoa, what the hell? What kind of blacksmith does the old geezer have? Naruto thought, his nervousness running amok within him. A large hand placed itself on his head, causing Naruto to look up and see Otter's form beside him, comforting him like a brother would for his younger brother. Comforted by the level 6's presence, Naruto gathered the courage to surge forward. They walked closer to the sounds of smithing. Louder and louder the hammer rang with every step they took. Finally, they arrived. In front of the anvil with a hammer in hand, a lone man stood. He stood at a respectable height of 6 feet, with khaki pants and brown boots on his legs and feet, yet he wore no shirt. His grey beard laid bare for all to see, stretching down to his chest and as full as an untrimmed bush. He had no hair, but for some reason that seemed to complete the picture more. Naruto could see the massive bulge of muscles and scars that the old man possessed, coiled with an intensity he never knew existed. His back held the face of a devil, his arms the power of a thunderbolt, and the aegis of abs that covered his abdomen. "It's been a while," Otter said. The old man, paused his smithing, turning to Otter and Naruto with a scowl. "I have a job for you." Anad spat with a deep and gruff tone, slightly scratchy. "Yeah? Tha's all anyone comes here for. Well, what you want? And who's the brat with ya?" A tick mark appeared on Naruto's head. The previous apprehension that he possessed transformed in an instant. "Who the hell you callin' a brat, you shitty porch stalker?" Otter pacified. "Naruto. You callin' me old, you brat. You're friggin' ancient, old man." The both growled at each other, butting heads with lightning coming between them. Anad huffed and broke the deadlock. "Whatever, you stinkin' brat. Otter, why the hell did you bring a 2-bit short stack like him here? I ain't got time mackin' toys for your baby. I swear I'm gonna." "1. Naruto, you won't be able to kill him for quite some time. He's a level 6. 2. The reason why I'm here is so you can forge the boy a few weapons so he can kill Goliath. He's trying to level up." An eyebrow rose up. "You're telling me that the brat over there is trying to kill a monster Rex?" Otter nodded. Turning his head to Naruto, Anad bent over and looked at him intently. "And what level are ya, brat?" "Level 1. Level 1 and you're trying to kill a monster Rex? Get real, you ain't gonna kill nothin'. Why I bet you coo. He killed a baby dragon on his first time in the dungeon." "Eh?" Anad swiveled his head to Otter, who nodded at him. "That was 3 weeks ago, he's been training since." The old man blinked his eyes in astonishment, stroking his beard as he turned back to Naruto, seeing him in a whole new light. An amused and exciting glint appeared in his eyes when he looked at the whiskered blonde. "Well, ain't that something? Alright kid, you piqued my interest. Watch and eat." Naruto tilted his head. "Just like that? You ain't gonna ask any questions on how I did it? Kid, it ain't my place to pry. Otter thinks you're able to kill Goliath, so I'ma put some faith on that. Now tell me what you want and I'll have it done." Otter took the opportunity to intervene. "He primarily uses a Chikudo and 2 daggers. You think you can make them?" "Dem's the easy ones. Gimme your current one, lad. I'll have a better one fixed up pronto." "I don't have them," Naruto shrugged. "I left them back at Folkfinger cause I thought I was getting better ones today or tomorrow. Didn't know I had to trade them." "I see," Anad muttered before turning towards a doorway, walking through it while muttering to himself. They could hear the clattering of items and materials that were stored in the other room, figuring that he had already either created the weapons before or if he was grabbing something else. Finally, Anad came out with a measuring rope. "Alright kid, lem see ya." Anad snapped the rope, walking to Naruto with a serious look. "I need to measure you so I can fit the sword for your form." Naruto turned to Otter, who gave him his approval to follow the old blacksmith's request, and looked back and raised his arms. Anad grumbled to himself as he got to work, taking mental notes as he measured Naruto's body. An uncomfortable shiver ran through the blonde, not liking the feeling of the old man's touch roaming his body, even though he knew it was for his weapons. "Alright, I'm done. Come by tomorrow and I'll have your sword and knives out and ready. I'm assuming you'll probably need armor too, so I took the liberty of doing your measurements for that too. Total payment will come to 1,630,000 valis." "Okay. I shall inform my lady of the total. Be sure to send the bill my way, I'll be paying for everything in full," Otter said. No more words were exchanged between them as the 2 Freya Familia members left Anad to his forging. Now outside the store, Naruto sighed in relief. "Phew, I thought I was about to have a stroke. That guy was intense." Otter nodded absent-mindedly, not bothering to listen to Naruto rant about the old man and the heat they had to endure. He watched the people around them go by in an attempt to distract himself from the boy. Seeing that Otter wasn't listening, Naruto sighed. "Hey Otter." Naruto started. "Can I go into the dungeon today? To the 16th floor?" "Sure. So quick?" Naruto gaped at the large man, who looked like he finally computed what was just said. Otter glared at Naruto. "Why? Ankshavagadaanabi. Too late, for by the time Otter tried to rectify his mistake, Naruto was dashing through the streets on his way to Folkvangr, leaving the bows to look stupid with his outstretched hand by himself. Otter grit his teeth in comical outrage as he thought up of any and every form of training he would administer to the sporadic child, imagining trials of flame walking and dodging practice with Naruto as the Vic student. Then, like a spirit haunting a house, Freya's demonic image appeared and reality came crashing down on the level 6 captain. I just allowed Naruto to go into the dungeon. His teeth were now chattering. This Freya is already upset at Naruto and I just gave her even more reason to be mad at me. Oh fuck. Freya sat on her Audra's bed, twirling a glass of wine in her hand while taking sips from time to time. She was doing a passing hobby of hers, gazing out the window and looking at all the souls that cluttered Arario's streets. A residual hobby from her time of yearning, searching and hoping to find her Audra. Not that she needed to anymore, considering the fact that her Audra was actually in her familiar right now. She giggled to herself with a tiny smile. I should probably get rid of this hobby of mine now, she thought to herself, feeling excited at the prospect of having something new to fill up her now discarded hobby. But what should it be? Never before had such a dilemma occurred to her. Never before had Freya thought that she could be capable of change, no matter how small that change may be. It was an ironclad belief to all gods that they do not change, even after so many years of being alive. To finally experience the thrill of change brought elation to the already elated goddess's heart. It seemed that finally, after so many centuries of misfortune, things were finally go her way. I'm going to the DUNGEON, I'm going to the DUNGEON, and no one's gonna stop me, a familiar voice came from behind her, singing a tune that made the goddess question her previous beliefs. There behind her was a dancing Naruto, eyes closed in jolly joy while humming his way to his equipment, entirely unaware of the dangerous beast that lurked within his room. It wasn't until he finished equipping everything that the miasma pierced his senses. A nervous sweat broke through him, and his body screamed when the wretched ghoul spoke at last. Naruto. His neck made creaking sounds as he tentatively looks in the direction of where he heard his name. His eyes popped out of their sockets when they found a smiling Freya glaring at him with closed eyes. Explain to me what you just said. Freya's eyes slowly opened, revealing a swirling mass of black vengeance with no mercy in sight. And don't you dare skip the details. Left the chat. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Why is Miss Freya here? This is my room, she shouldn't be in here. Naruto madly thought to himself while his physical body deformed into a blubbering mess. Oh, you see it was. It was what, Naruto? Naruto gulped but pushed on with his plan. He would just deal with the consequences later. I kinda asked Otter if I could go to the dungeon and he said I could, so I was just grabbing my stuff and was gonna go into the dungeon for a bit, you know. He continued to make excuses, unrepentantly tossing all the blame and responsibility onto his unaware captain. His voice trailed off into silence when Freya's form flickered with shadows. 10 seconds felt like hours to the boy as he awaited his fate. Fortunately, his fate was still nowhere near the current moment. Unfortunately, someone else's fate was. Odd air, the demonic hiss of Freya's rage made Naruto's mind go numb. The sheer amount of wrath that it held would make anyone dizzy with fear. I'm sorry, Captain. Naruto wept silently, rivers of tears cascading down his face, silently praying for the captain's peaceful departure to the afterlife. Your sacrifice won't be in vain. Naruto stealthily crept out of the room, doing his very best to not draw any attention to himself as the goddess whispered curses and vengeance on the not currently present Otter. As soon as his foot was out the door, he ran out the building. He ran through the crowd of people filling the streets, shouting apologies when he bumped into some of them. His sights came upon the dungeon rather quickly, but before he could make his way there he got knocked into the ground. The daze came upon Naruto as he tried to get the fog out of his head. Something to note, hitting your head can really hurt. Like a lot. Naruto could attest to that. Oh my, are you okay? The person who bumped into him, a woman, looked concerned above his fallen form. She was holding a white purse in her arms, which were smooth and pale. The woman was completely pale, wearing a fancy white dress and a sun hat that did little to cover her face. Gray eyes were accompanied by long golden locks reaching the lower ends of her back, little bangs framing her face perfectly. With the way the sun was standing behind her, she seemed ethereal. Naruto looked up at her, taking her extended hand and hoisting himself up. He grinned at the woman. Yeah, thanks. Just a little dizzy but it's going away now. That's good. The woman sighed in relief. Say, are you an adventurer? Yeah, I guess it's pretty obvious with my stuff, huh? The woman nodded. Indeed. I suppose I must give you compensation then for knocking you over. She pulled out a book from her bag and handed it to Naruto. Here, please take this as an apology. Eh? There's no need, lady. Naruto said, eyeing the book with disgust. I don't really like to read, so I don't need it. Yufufu, but this isn't just any book, my dear. This is a grimoire. A grimoire? Yes. Reading these grimoires can give you access to the magic that's trapped inside it. I want you to take it since I have no use for it. Really? Awesome, thanks lady. Naruto thanked the woman with a bow, grabbing the grimoire and placing it into his pouch. I'll read it when I get back home. Maybe I should read it in the guild hall. Yufufu, I would recommend reading it in the guild hall, you'll be able to use its magic right away after you do. Sweet, thanks. The woman giggled at Naruto's giddy expression. It's nothing dear. I'm glad you like it. Naruto grinned brightly at her, not noticing the little blush that appeared on her face as he did so. Reaching out his hand, he finally introduced himself. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, it's nice to meet you miss. Yufu, it's nice to meet you too, Naruto. The woman clasped his hand with her own and shook it. I'm Metis. That's a really pretty name, Miss Metis. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the guild. I wanna get down to the dungeon and read the grimoire. Bye. Metis smiled and waved her hand at the departing boy, keeping her stance until he was out of sight before turning around. Good. She muttered to herself as she walked through the crowd. She reached into her purse and pulled out a piece of paper with a photograph, taken thanks to a magical item bought from the Hermes Familia. It was a photo of a little blonde boy, slumbering peacefully within the confines of a large red crystal, orange miasma seemingly surrounding it like poisonous gas. A grin slowly stretched her face. Don't you worry, my darling Naruto. I'll save you from that witch Freya. Her grin widened as she entered a building, placing the photo back in her purse. Her Familia building. And when I do, you'll be all mine. Okay. Now that I have a room, let's get to it. Sitting down in the room he rented, Naruto pulled out his grimoire, an excited grin adorning his face. He held the book in his hands, observing every piece of the grimoire as though it were an ancient relic. Gulping, Naruto slowly opened the grimoire, and everything went dark. When he came to, a black void surrounded him. There was no ground, no sky, nothing. The feeling of floating encompassed him like the caress of a mother, reminding him of the times he had with his own family. There was no breeze, yet Naruto felt the coolness of space flow around his body. He closed his eyes and reveled in his ethereal state. He felt at peace, and he knew what was to come. Are you ready? I'm ready. Good. Let us begin. What is magic to me? Our overwhelming power that grinds my enemies to dust. What sort of thing is magic to me? Energy. Energy that is always changing and adapting to be the most powerful and useful it can be at the given moment. What do I seek from magic? The ability to protect the people I love. I want magic so I can protect the people I care about and get revenge on the people who hurt them. Is that all? Honestly, I want to become the strongest. So my little sister can always look up to me with a big smile, so I can always keep her safe and happy. Why is that? It's simple, really. I want to be her hero, the person she can always feel safe and happy with. No matter what. You're ambitious. Sorry. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, revealing a galaxy of colors swimming around his pupils. Existence around him trembled in power as giant fiery red eyes snapped open behind him. But I'm gonna make it happen. Believe it. Naruto lurched awake, taking a gasping breath that his body seemed to have desperately needed. His head hurt, everywhere hurt, a burning feeling was flowing through him. The feeling of something awakening flowed throughout his body like a flame in oil. He writhed in agony for the seconds that this took place, mind devoid of any thoughts. He didn't scream or yell, no, that would have made him draw attention to himself, attention he didn't want. Finally, it went away. Ugh, Naruto groaned as he laid on his back. That was the most painful thing I ever went through. He laid there for a few more seconds, allowing his nerves to recover from the tormenting sensation he just went through. He didn't like the vulnerability he subjected himself to, but he didn't have any choice. The feeling of his regeneration helped soothe him faster than he expected, and in no time at all he was on his feet. All right, Naruto said to himself, stuffing his hands in his pockets. He was curious on how long the time had been, however the clock on the wall told him all he needed to know. Only 10 minutes passed, way less time than he expected it to be. Since I still have a lot of time left, to the dungeon I go. As Naruto entered the dungeon, the first thing he noticed was how much lighter he felt. Like he had the ability to fly and run at the speed of light. It felt incredible. Okay, I want to give my new magic a shot. Naruto grinned, rushing through the corridors. I know for a fact that the burning pain I felt was my magic, so maybe it's inside my body. He continued to theorize as he sprinted. No monsters had come across him yet. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Let's see if I can grasp it like whoa. The shock he felt when he slammed into the wall was immense. Pain tingled in his face from the impact that he had, but that didn't prevent a grin from forming. He looked back, staring into the long corridor he had just cleared. I see, so it's like that. Naruto excitedly exclaimed. It's like an enhancement to my body. The more I move the energy through my body, the stronger and faster I get. That's awesome. Naruto marveled at his new abilities but didn't let it distract him. He once more sprinted through the dungeon, getting used to the feeling of his unknown energy empowering him. A horde of kobolds and goblins came across his path. Naruto didn't slow his approach as he drew his shakudo, grinning maniacally as he got to them. Before the first monster could even blink, its head was already cleaved from its shoulders. Jiek. The rest of the horde quickly took notice to the human entreating them and attacked, brandishing their claws together in an attempt to kill Naruto. Naruto dodged the first goblin who came at him, its speed of no match for the blonde, as he removed its head from its body. Sensing another attack on its way, he ducked down just in time for claws to pass over his head. A swing of his blade rendered that kobold to dust. I ain't wasting any more time on these guys. I gotta make it to the middle floors today. Naruto thought to himself, the shift in his demeanor noticeable to all the monsters left. Before they could even comprehend what was happening, they exploded into dust. Naruto stood behind the area where the horde was, swiping his blade through the air to clear it of its blood. The 2nd through 10th floor were the same for him, cleaving through monsters with ease many adventurers would kill to possess and stomping their cores into dust. The 11th floor, however, was slightly different. Ogres and imps surrounded an unfazed Naruto, who was taking into account the numbers and species of the monsters. With a nod, he leapt into action, swinging his shakudo in an arc that cleaved an ogre in two. The rest took it as a signal to attack and they all ganged up to kill the boy. His arctic eyes remained unchanged as he was attacked, jumping onto the shoulders and planting his foot on the face of one ogre, slamming it into the ground. The head of the ogre splattered onto the white dusty ground, the head not able to stand the pressure of the boot on top of it. Jumping at another ogre, he swept his blade at its face, slashing it clean off halfway through, only to be punched aside by another ogre that took its place. There was no pain from the impact due to his new augmentation, but the hit still angered Naruto. Flipping himself to a better position, he jammed his sword into an imp that was in his path before launching himself at the ogre, thrusting the blade into its gut. The ogre roared in pain, silenced only when Naruto split it vertically in two. The gruesome sight wavered the surrounding monster's bloodlust, but there was no more turning back. Catching a rock thrown at him, he bashed it into the head of another ogre that came up behind him. His eyes honed onto the original imp that threw the rock at him and coiled his arm, shooting the rock and reducing its head into mist. Laughter escaped his lips as he continued his dance of death, jumping up into the air to avoid a desperate dogpile the horde made, a streak of blue following his path. At the opportunity, he raised his hand up and charged magic into it, a ball of flames forming above it. Fireball. Naruto called out, slinging the flames at the pile and disintegrating them, core included. Landing on the ground, he prepared himself for another wave of monsters. There were none. Where'd the rest go? The question rang through the air as he scratched his head. Turning his head, he found his question answering itself. They're running away. Indeed, the rest of the horde's numbers could be seen retreating into the distance, disgruntling Naruto. Damn, I wanted to kill all of them. Damn it, it's not fair. Naruto whined, stomping his feet like a petulant child. Whatever. Maybe I'll be able to fight against the baby dragon before I go down any further. But first, potion time. Naruto pulled out a blue-looking potion from his bag, opening the cork and downing the drink eagerly. He could feel his mind restore itself to its peak. Nothing beats a good old drink after working your butt off, you know. A content sigh escaped his lips, his cheer returned to him. Welp, time to Geo. Yelp. The scream stopped him in his tracks, swinging his body and looking into the direction of the noise. He instinctively channeled his new magic into his eyes, clearing his vision of the fog and allowing him to see a girl being chased by a baby dragon. Anticipation filled his body as his eyes gained an excited look. Oh yeah, buddy, you messed with me at the wrong time. Naruto muttered to himself, crouching into a runner's position and charging himself with his new enhancement to the limit his body could handle. His eyes turned red, further enhancing his body even more and filling his veins with even more power. I ain't done yet. Time to go all out. Naruto thought to himself, a look of concentration forming on his face. Around him, white ethereal light swarmed into his body as he absorbed the natural energy around him, his great sage's active ability finally being put to use. He didn't end it there and activated his trump card. The light swarming around him surged upward as activated his Sage of 6 Paths, enhancing his level and boosting his power even more. Before, if he was a level 3 in terms of power and ability, now he eclipsed that range and entered the domain of the level 4s. His magic enhancement worked overtime as his body now held more power, enhancing him even further than his previous limit. A red cloak formed around him, emerging from the back of it. Now, his transformation was complete. With his new power filling his body, Naruto grinned maliciously. Here we go, let's test this baby out. Boom. The blast, unlike any other, reverberated through the chasm, the sound shattering the ears of any monster in the area. The girl, who was previously on the run from the dragon, flinched when she heard the boom. The sound was accompanied by a large gust of wind, threatening to send them flying. She screamed, turning around and ducking to avoid such a fate, just in time to witness their pursuer erupt in a shower of blood and gore, a blonde child escaping the beast and showered in the remains. Her eyes went wide and her jaw dropped. The monster that had been tormenting her was done in by a child. She couldn't believe it. That was awesome. Naruto screamed to himself. He pumped his fist up in jubilation. I totally just killed this thing. The girl watched as Naruto did a jig for himself, caught up in his own excitement to notice the others. A tentative breath escaped her lips, her adrenaline finally calming down enough for her to assess the situation. The internal silence calmed the girl enough to step to the happy child and address him. Excuse me. Naruto stopped dancing at the sound of her voice, turning around and giving his attention to the girl, who he now noticed was an elf. Thank you for saving me. Nah, it's all good. Naruto grinned. Glad to see you're safe. Still though, I must thank you. The elf girl bowed. Like I said, no worries. I was actually about to look for one already, so you bringing it here really saved me the trouble. I see. There was a bit of a pause in the conversation. A pause that did not last long. Stretching out his hand, Naruto smiled at the elf. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, a level 1 of the Freya Familia. It's nice to meet you. Impossible. This boy is a level 1. He killed a baby dragon in one hit. Only people that are high level 4 and above could possibly do that. The girl thought, feeling extremely shocked at the information revealed to her. However, she couldn't think about this for long. The elf girl gazed at the outstretched hand in silence, pondering on whether to accept the hand or not. She decided not to, but still directed a smile at the boy. I'm Ryu Lion, a new level 3 of the Estrie Familia. It's nice to meet you too, Naruto. Realizing that his hand was not going to be shaken, Naruto dejectedly put his arm down. Ryu, noticing his downtrodden expression, decided to explain. Sorry for not accepting your hand, Naruto. It's just that we elves don't necessarily like physical contact with anyone other than our kind. It's a part of our culture. Ryu clarified, bringing a look of realization to Naruto. That's right. Mr. Hedon told me about that. Yes. I apologize if it offends you. Nah, it's cool. It's part of your culture, can't really do anything about that. Ryu sighed in relief. I'm glad you understand. If I may ask, what is someone your age doing all the way down on the 10th floor? It's incredibly dangerous for new adventurers. Well, I'm not any ordinary adventuring 8-year-old, you know. Naruto said proudly. I'm the strongest level 1 out there. And I got some pretty cool stuff to use, so I'm totally fine. But still, what if you get hurt? I got some secrets and stuff that'll keep me safe, don't you worry. Ryu sighed. It seemed to her that she wouldn't be getting through to the stubborn boy in front of her. She looked into the boy's eyes. Fine, I'll stop pestering you about this. How far deep are you planning on going? 16th floor. Okay, what? The flat and brief tone threw her off for a second, but Naruto's words weren't escaped by her. What do you mean you're going down to the 16th floor? All on your own? By yourself? Yup. Unbelievable. Simply unbelievable. Ryu threw her hands into the air, exasperation filling her entire being. You're by far the craziest, most idiotic child I have ever met. How in the world do you expect to get down all the way to the 17th floor all by yourself? I'll just kill all the monsters that attack me like I've been doing this entire time. It's pretty simple, you know. Pretty no. It's not pretty simple at all. Ryu's agitation reached its limit at last, finally blowing up on the oblivious blonde that was now cowering in fear. You don't just kill everything in your path, Naruto. You'll get tired and overrun if you do. You'll die if you keep going at it like that. Geez woman, chill out. Naruto groaned, his ears ringing and in pain. I get that you're concerned and all, but it's the only way I'll get stronger. I can't get way stronger than I am without putting myself in danger, you know. As Naruto dug his pinky into his ear, Ryu began to think. This boy just doesn't get it. Going down that far on his own is suicidal for a level 1. There's no way I can let him go down. Ryu, coming to a decision, stared hard daggers at Naruto. How about a proposal? I'll let you go down there, but you must take me with you. I won't let you go down that far on your own. The serious tone she gave him made it clear that he should listen. Any other adventurer would tremble and agree in a heartbeat. But not Naruto. Not without stipulations. Fine, you can come. But don't you dare get in the way of my hunt, you got it? I'm gonna be killing everything on my own, so if you try and get in the way I'll ditch you. But why? Did you not come and kill the baby dragon because you saw someone in danger? Lady, get real. The scoff and condescending tone he spat out seemed to physically hurt Ryu. I came because I wanted to kill the baby dragon. You being there didn't change anything. Not giving Ryu a chance to speak, Naruto turned on his heel and began walking to the 12th floor entrance. I've got a goal in mind, Ryu, and I'll do anything it takes to achieve it. If that means I gotta leave a few people behind so I can get stronger, then so be it. Naruto didn't wait for the still girl to catch up, entering the doorway to the middle floors, and started his hunt again. As soon as he entered the 12th floor, a herd of silverback gorillas rushed him, arms poised to crush him into the ground. Though he had not expected an attack right out the gate, Naruto adapted perfectly and charged himself full of energy, parrying the punch to the side and used the force of the blow to fling him to the wall on the other side. His arm had a slight tingle run down it, but the sensation was gone a second later. A breath after that, Naruto blasted himself towards the closest silverback. He jumped on the arm that punched down at him, using it as a platform to propel himself to the monster's head, burying his Shikudo into its eye. The monster exploded into dust, but Naruto was not without reprieve as the giant fist of another silverback slammed into him. Again, his body tingled for a second before it went away. These guys ain't even strong enough to hurt me. Naruto thought exasperatedly as he landed on his feet. Then again, I am enhancing myself right now. Maybe that's why it doesn't really hurt at all. He stayed there, assessing the number of monsters that remained and the most efficient way to kill them. Alright, there's 7 of them left, should be easy enough. Shadow clones, Naruto whispered softly, drawing his mind to summon his clones to his side. 42 clones poofed into existence, all side by side with the original. No words were exchanged between them, the knowledge of their objective already programmed into their head the moment they were summoned. All of them rushed the large monsters, appearing before them in the blink, Chikudos raised and severing limbs in fluid motion, the original swiping at the head. Sorry about this, but I don't get Excelia if my clones kill ya. Naruto stated, swiping his blade through the air and cleaning it of blood. So just endure the pain a little longer, okay? The silverbacks, who were limbless, roared in agony as the pain enveloped them. Death hadn't arrived to them like it should have due to the well-timed placement of fireballs via the shadow clones, burning the stumps and preventing blood from escaping. Their roars of pain diminished one by one as Naruto killed them, taking his time so he could use their roars to attract more monsters to his location. The roar was heard further into the dungeon, a larger herd of monsters seemed to be coming near. Naruto focused on the direction of the sound, killing the last silverback before making his way there. He never gave any attention to the elf girl that lingered behind, watching everything with surprised eyes. Alrighty, that does it. I've cleared the 16th floor. A cheer resounded through the cavern as Naruto pumped his fists up. He was bleeding lightly and his armor was tattered, but there was no extensive harm that was done to his person. Already the open wound was being clotted and healed, replenishing the blood that was lost just moments ago. All that's left is Goliath down below and I'll be set. Naruto gazed down at himself contemplatively, taking in his messed up attire and equipment. Still though, I didn't think that those minotaurs would be as strong as they were. I'm lucky I have my new magic now, I would have had to use the Kyuubi otherwise. Indeed. Ryu appeared from the back, surprising Naruto slightly as he hadn't realized she was there. You are indeed more fortunate than most people. I came to make sure you wouldn't hurt yourself, but it seems my worries were for naught. I thought you went back to the surface. No, I stuck around. It wouldn't be proper or right to allow you to wander through the middle floors all on your own. I ain't weak, you know. But you are level 1, and just about every level 1 running solo besides you would have died before reaching even the 6th or 7th floor. True. But that's beside the point. Naruto tilted his head at Ryu, who continued her sentence. You have amassed quite the number of spoils, all of which I had taken the liberty to collect for you. What would you do with it? Naruto kept his head tilted, slightly confused at what the elf girl was talking about before realization smacked him. Oh yeah, I forgot to collect the loot. I just said that. Well, if you collected all of the stones and monster drops, then I guess you can get 10% of the cut. Only 10%. Yup. The way Naruto popped the pea pissed Ryu off for some reason. Now let's head back to the surface. I want to cash in all the drops I got and go home. The way up to the surface was very peaceful. No monsters were encountered by the two adventurers as they trekked the paths back up to the surface, though that is probably thanks to Naruto killing them all, but that's besides the point. There were a few adventuring parties they passed, all of them who gawked at the bag Ryu carried with her, humongous in size and nearly overflowing with loot. It quickly became apparent to them that the reason why there were no monsters in the dungeon besides the very first few floors was thanks to the duo exiting the dungeon. It was turning dark by the time they got out of the dungeon, the sky an orange hue that Naruto absolutely adored. Let it be known to all that Naruto Uzumaki loves the color orange. Come on, Naruto. His attention was broken by Ryu calling out to him. Let us go exchange these items. I wish to rejoin my familia immediately. Ah. Sorry about that, didn't mean to get sidetracked. Naruto said, catching up to Ryu who was in front of the guild's exchange booth. Is this really the drops you two got? The girl sitting behind the counter gawked at the size of the bag, gulping lightly at the amount of work that was presented to her. Magic stones, Minotaur drops, Ligerfang drops, Silverback drops, are those Jackbird golden eggs? 5 of them. Yeah, there were too many items in the bag for her to properly estimate by the eye, let alone comprehend them. I was merely carrying them. The boy was the one who got them. Ryu's words surprised the clerk, who turned her head to see the proud boy smirking smugly, chin up in pride with his nose sharpened. Wait, what? Please don't question how, I have no clue either. But how did he? Like I said, I don't know. The woman groaned miserably, her head now hurting from the irrelevant information dumped on her. It wasn't something that should be worth any importance, but the question of how was going to plague her mind for a while. She sighed. Okay, give me a few minutes to total this, please. As they waited for the total to arrive, adventurers around them gossiped together. They had overheard the words of the Estrée Familia's elf, and it shocked them. Their stares bore holes into Naruto's back, causing him to shuffle uncomfortably. I like attention and all, but come on. This is just embarrassing. Naruto thought frantically, praying for the clerk to hurry up with her evaluation. Luckily, his prayers were answered. A loud thud graced his ears as the clerk heaved it onto the desk. Here you are, she panted. Your total comes out to 13,403,582 valis. Thank you for your patronage. Holy crap. Every adventurer in the room yelled at the top of their lungs, Naruto and Ryu included. Nobody would have expected such a huge amount of money to be rewarded to the 2 adventurers that delivered the loot. Naruto's eyes gained valley symbols. Oh yeah. That's a ton of money I have now. I can get so many new things. Food, swords, food, maybe some more food as well. Ryu was blushing and had her head in La La Land. That much money for me? I could get us that bathhouse we wanted installed with that much money. And then, Lady Estrée and Iguhehe. Yeah, nobody wants to know where those thoughts trailed off to. Moving on. Naruto, immediately seeing Ryu's expression, snapped out of his funk and stared hard at her. Remember Ryu. Only 10%. Ryu snapped out of her trance just as hard as Naruto had and turned her face into a pleading expression. But Naruto, that much money should be shared together. 50-50 split between us, right? Greed doesn't suit your Ryu. I thought the Estrée Familia were full of justice maniacs. It isn't just to take 50% of the money when all you were doing was collecting the drops, you know. An arrow struck Ryu straight in the heart, her Shen form withering into the ground thanks to Naruto's words. I suppose you're right. Awesome. Hey lady, Naruto turned to the clerk, placing the bag back on the counter. Can you split this up so Ryu can have her 10%? The clerk's glasses tilted off their perch slightly. Of course. A few minutes later, 2 bags were placed on the counter. Naruto grinned as he grabbed them both, heaving the larger bag to his chest while he dropped the other one in front of Ryu's dusty visage. The sight of the moderate-sized bag filled her complexion back with color. That's your 10%, Ryu. No need to thank me. Naruto said as he walked away, carrying the comically large bag, at least compared to his tiny form, by the bottom of it. Bye. Ryu sat there on the floor, clutching the smaller bag to her chest as she watched Naruto depart through the door. I thought he was like the rest of the humans, greedy and arrogant. Ryu thought to herself, slowly getting up from her seated position. But he is fair to others. He had definitely been rude earlier on the 11th floor, but maybe that's because he didn't originally intend for anyone to interfere or question him with his dungeon dive. I mean, he compensated me for my work, even though I hadn't originally been meant to do so. Ryu walked out the guild hall with a smile on her face, happy in mood and hopeful of the future. He isn't too bad, I suppose. He did give me over 1,000,000 valis after all. I should ask him if we can do some dungeon diving the next time I see him. Naruto whistled a tune to himself as he entered his room, happy with the way his day turned out. He hadn't expected to make so much money, but here he was, 12 million valley richer than he was before. Sure, his equipment was wrecked and his shakudo was broken beyond repair, but he was getting better ones tomorrow. How could he not be happy? How was your dive? Hi. Naruto screamed at the top of his lungs, dropping his bag and swiveling on his heel, just to see Freya leaning on the doorframe, one eyebrow raised and arms crossed. Naruto panicked at the sight of her, remembering his act of ditching her just before he entered the dungeon. I can explain. Freya sighed as Naruto began to ramble, making her way to Naruto calmly. I'm not mad, Naruto. Freya said, kneeling in front of Naruto to look him in the eyes, her own full of pride and love. In fact, I'm proud of you. Naruto blinked. You are? Yes. Freya giggled. I was watching everything you were doing the moment you entered the dungeon. I must say, killing that infant dragon the way you did was amazing to see. Thank you. Wait, how were you watching me in the dungeon? I thought gods weren't allowed in there. We aren't. Freya reached for the strap on Naruto's ruined chestplate and pulled out a gemstone, enjoying the flabbergasted look on the whiskered blonde's face as she did so. I snuck this into your equipment. Naruto's jaw lowered. He hadn't seen that coming in the slightest bit. Since I got to watch you fight in the dungeon, I know now that you can definitely fight against the Goliath tomorrow. I won't try to stop you. Freya smiled softly at Naruto, pulling him into a tender hug. I'm very proud of you, Naruto. You were absolutely amazing out there. Naruto's eyes turned misty as he hugged her back. Finally, he was hearing the words he yearned to hear for so long. Dreams of his parents complimenting him for his efforts was now a reality, granted in the form of the goddess Freya. A slight shift occurred in his mind, and his back burned. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, silly. We still need to update your stats. Freya pulled back from the hug softly, not commenting on the slight wetness she felt on her clothes, nor Naruto's attempt to dry his eyes. Without Otter here. We can see the status page tomorrow, dear. He's currently indisposed right now, so you don't need to worry about him for now. No one needed to know of the absolute horrifist Freya unleashed on Otter earlier. Some things just have to be left unknown. Oh, Naruto's sad tone cracked Freya's heart. She knew how much he looked up to the bows, the guy the whiskered blonde considered his big brother, and seeing how he wasn't there to witness his growth right now made her understand the dejection Naruto was feeling. Don't be sad, sweetie. I promise I'll show him your progress the very second he gets better, okay? Now, you go shower and get changed so we can update your status. Minutes later, Naruto came out of the bathroom wearing orange pajama pants and a white and orange short-sleeved shirt with a toad imprinted on the front. That was soon discarded though as he laid down on his bed with Freya on top of him. Once more, Freya pricked her finger and unlocked the fauna, moving the excilia to their respective spots. What she saw shocked her to her core. Status. Naruto Namikaze Wallenstein. Level 1. Strength. SSS 1350 x 2000. Endurance. X 1600 x 2000. Dexterity. X 1503 x 2000. Agility. X 1639 x 2000. Magic. S904 x 1659. Magic. Shadow clones. Allows the user to create one or more copies of themselves. The user's mind is evenly divided between themselves and their clones. Creating one clone will give it half the user's mind, creating two clones will give each a third of the user's mind and so on. Depending on how much mind the user has and how many clones they make, this rapid depletion of their reserves can be dangerous. Clones can also utilize the magic technique shadow clones. Dispelling the clones transfers its knowledge and experience to the original. Excilia gathered by the clones do not count towards transfer. Erdtree's protection. Grants greater durability to those casted for a determined amount of time. A minute of time for each drop of mind put to use. The more people this is casted on the more mind used. One person is 1 mind per minute, 2 people are 2 mind per minute, 3 people are 3 mind per minute, and so on. Fireball. Hurls a ball of flames. The greater the size the more mana utilized. Enchanted with death due to the skill Godslayer's black flame, but only if the user wishes. Magic enhancement. Fortification and conjuration. The user possesses mind pathways that flow through the entire body, allowing magic to flow through the body and make it easier to use magic. Fortification enhances the capabilities of the body, the more mind is pushed into the muscles and organs. Example being greater physical prowess and greater senses such as sight and touch. Conjuration allows the magic to be expelled at certain points of the body, specifically the hands and feet, granting the user access to greater damage and new magic attacks, as well as making it easier for other spells to be used. No incantations needed. Skills. Will of Fire. The stronger the will of the wielder, the greater boost in stats will occur. In times of trouble, when all else would fail, a single strike will turn the tides. Dual Wield. Raises attack power when wielding 2 weapons. Slaughter Demon. Monstrously increases attack power for every kill the user makes. Permanently increases stats by 1 for every 3 kills. Kyuubi no Yoko. The greatest spirit that descended from the gods. Provides passive greater regeneration, heightened senses, greater durability, and extreme magic capacity to user. When cloaked in the Kyuubi's energy, each effect granted is quintuples in its power, at the expense of being filled with hate. Can be stacked up to 9 times, counted by the number of tails present in the cloak. Each time a tail is added to the cloak, the user will be exposed to more hatred from the Kyuubi. Should the user fall into rage and hatred, they will fall into a berserker state. Berserker status effect shall last until either the target of the user's hatred is dead, the Kyuubi takes over, or the user is knocked unconscious. If the user can conquer the full hatred of the Kyuubi, the skill cloaks the user in gold and increases effects, combat ability and attack power to the maximum. Can only be used by those with spirit blood. Vanitas Otter. Destined love of the goddess Freya. Grants immunity to all charms of every strength and grants greater Excelia count to the power, endurance, agility, and magic. Combat ability permanently and higher battle IQ is increased alongside it due to Freya also being the goddess of war. Lyris Freeze. Fast growth as long as the user is in love. The strength of the effects corresponds with the level of the user's feelings. As a side effect it makes the user immune to charms. Great Sage. Favored by nature and Excelia, extreme growth is inevitable. Increases Excelia count gathered passively. Increases power when actively gathering energy from the surrounding atmosphere. Can only be used by those in tune with the spirits or possess spirit blood. Avenger. Heavily increases the user's attack power against monsters, massively increases the user's attack power against dragon-type monsters. Effect rises based on the user's hate. Godslayer's Black Flames. The flames enchanted by death, capable of burning even divinity itself. Grants all fire spells the enchantment of death, slowly burning through the life and divinity of all that it touches. Can only be put out through spirit magic or the user's will. Effect increases based on user's hate. Balance Breaker. Normal doesn't apply. Limits typically found on the Falna are non-existent. Allows user to possess an infinite number of magics to be used and eliminates the cap of stats that others are bound by. Bergon Slayer. Massive increase in attack power when dealing with dragon-type monsters. Effect increases when dealing with dragon types previously dealt with. Sage of Six Paths. Increases the user's level by 1, keeping all the stats they possess in their level before the increase. Example being a high level 5 going into a high level 6. Mark of the Sun. Gives user the ability to manipulate all physical matter, ranging from complete annihilation to absolute restoration of a person or object. Can be used to heal others. It is said that when it comes into contact with he who bears the moon, all shall be sealed away in the eclipse that forms. Truth Seeker Orb. Grants 6 orbs of nothingness that erase anything it comes in contact with, the exception being the user, those the user chooses not to harm, or those with high enough overall resistance. Development ability. Status. Naruto's hands trembled as they clutched the paper, his expression frozen in shock. Freya was no better. It had taken every bit of power for her to not scream in amazement and awe, something that would have alerted all of Folkvanger and ending her little secret of Naruto being in her familia. Lyris Freeze finally being active also helped with that. It sent her over the moon. Miss Freya, is this really? Yes it is, Naruto. Please don't shout though, I don't want to wake anyone up. His body was trembling now. He couldn't tell his feelings apart. Joy, elation, shock, none of it registered within Naruto as he continued staring at his status. The very growth he had worked his butt off for was now proof in his hands, the sight of the X stats proved it. He still wasn't aware of the normal limit that most adventurers had. Hedon's words weeks prior had completely skipped his head. Freya couldn't believe the massive rise in stats Naruto experienced, though she should have probably expected it thanks to him proudly declaring his intent on going as deep as he could. His Slaughter Demon skill definitely helped a lot in raising his stats. However, Freya frowned, now noticing something that was amiss. Naruto, how did you get new magic? You didn't buy a grimoire, did you? Naruto looked back at Freya. No, I didn't have any money with me. I ditched Otter after I got permission to go into the dungeon and we never went into any magic shops. Just the forge. Then how did you get a new type of magic? This nice lady gave it to me as a gift since she bumped into me. She said her name was Metis. What? Freya nearly screamed. The name Metis was not something she ever would have expected to hear, not for centuries. See, Freya and Metis have terrible blood. Their animosity towards each other was well known, and for good reason. Ever since the time Freya stole Zeus away from Metis back in Tenkai, Metis had become obsessed. Her desire for vengeance and retribution rivaled that of Nemesis. At every given moment she would steal the spotlight from Freya, always basking in the praises of the other gods who worshipped her knowledge and beautiful complexion. Freya never minded, since it meant more freedom to search for her. As more and more gatherings of the gods continued, Metis's ire increased. And when the gods first started descending to the lower world, Metis found her opportunity. Metis heard of the depression Freya was going through with having no one to truly love her, and weaved her trick. Her little prophecy of Freya's fated Otter. When Metis had first seen the look of hope and joy in Freya's eyes, she almost laughed. She had finally succeeded in bringing down Freya and getting part of her revenge. She was there when Freya got hope when she descended to the mortal realm. And Metis followed her. She laughed at every twist and turn that Freya's journey had, laughed at the rise and falls of her expression, with every time her charm activated and destroyed a man's future. Every time she had to use deplorable means to have her way, from cruelty to others to her offering herself to them, Metis watched all of it. Laughing at Freya's search for her fated otter and failing to fulfill a fake prophecy sprouted by the whims of a spiteful goddess. When Freya had found this out centuries later, she went insane. With her familia, she went and destroyed every territory and province that Metis and her familia possessed. It didn't matter if there were men, women, or children, everyone was subjected to the war goddess's vengeful wrath. Eventually, her rage was quelled under the pressure of the Zeus familia and the new dungeon city of Aurario. Ever since then, the Norse goddess of war and the Greek Titaness of wisdom had been at each other's throats, doing everything they could to undermine and eliminate the other under the watchful eyes of Uranos, confined in the walls of Aurario. Still, even after learning the truth, Freya held out hope. That one day her otter would arrive and prove them wrong, sweeping Freya off her feet and into his gentle arms. And her hope had prevailed in her discovery of Naruto, her fated otter. If Metis approached Naruto with a grimoire, it could only mean one thing. That bitch is trying to steal my otter from me. Freya's rage rose to heights it never had ever before. At no point in history had Freya felt the burning flames of hatred flare within her as much as it did now. Her divinity broke free from her body, and all of Aurario felt the hatred of the war goddess. What if Naruto was God in Danmachi? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.